Good evening. Welcome back. As always, Artie here and taking care of this. Ah, good evening, Ted. Evening, Solar. Welcome. Yeah, we're having Amiga on deck tonight, and you can see there's a little floppy cam here, so we can see the floppies as they are tested. Behind me is a tremendous stack of Amiga floppies. So, even Eco. And it's something I built up over time. I had one haul a while back that just like I went to a garage sale and they had big box games, and also just the owner that used to have the big box games, he had passed away, had just a boatload of Amiga floppies, so I was able to get them. They just wanted to go to someone who would use them, so here we are. So, Revenant. But yeah, so we have lots of floppies, and we have an actual original Amiga 500 sitting here. This is bone stock, even tolerated. And it's actually had the 500 or the 5 meg, or sorry, the half meg memory expansion module, bringing it up to 1 meg. Unfortunately, some problems it's not detected. So any game that requires the 1 meg of memory, we won't be able to play. So Unipixel, this is an Amiga 500 that you're looking at right here. And the Amiga 500, or the Amiga, is a fascinating machine. For those that didn't really grow up in Europe, maybe, or this is an NTSA machine, to make clear. This is an actual Amiga from the US. The Commodore Amiga was very, very popular in Europe. Became kind of like a wave of bedroom coders, music composers, and all that stuff. It was very popular for music and gaming. Tons of games. Oh, sorry, Solar. But it's basically you can consider it a 16-bit computer. It is a 16-bit computer between an NES and a Super Nintendo, basically. Somewhere in between there. Imagine like a Genesis, except a computer on that level. It has its own custom chipset. A lot of the chips in here are not off the shelf. Commodore decided to basically use custom chips for a lot of these things. So you have a custom audio chip with specific names, too. They're like Paula, Denise, and all this stuff. And I'm not an Amiga expert. I'm sure there's plenty of other people here that are expert at the Amiga. But it is a really cool computer, very fascinating computer. And it has so much flexibility because it was just a powerhouse. This came out in 1985, where the first Amiga, the Amiga 1000. And in 1985, the PC was not even remotely close to the media capabilities that the Amiga could do. You had audio and graphics and all the stuff that was just beyond anything that had been seen at that time. So the Amiga really was just dominating for a while there. PC caught up pretty quickly, of course. Eventually, we started getting good sound cards, good video, especially going into later times then. And yeah, the Amiga was surpassed pretty quickly. But for a while there, the Amiga was basically unbeatable. In the mid-late 80s, it was just, I don't have many of those things here. We'll see some of the games, and think about the fact that these games then are between 86 to 91, 92, that general range, right? And Eden Chandler, and it really, there was nothing quite like it. There was just nothing quite like the Amiga at the time. My neighbor actually got an Amiga 500 pretty quickly after they came out. Well, this would have been like 86, 87, something like that, in Sweden. And I remember he was biking back from the post office with his dad, and on the back of his bike he had a big package, and that was the Amiga. We used to play all the time. We were neighbors, and we just go out in the street and play. And it was a small, quiet neighborhood in a small town in Sweden. When he got the Amiga, he just vanished for a week. Like, I did not see him. Like, hey, where did he go? I don't know where he is. I don't know. I'll just play with some other neighbors. And eventually, he came out like a week later, just, disheveled looking. He's like, oh, the Amiga's amazing. He's been playing games. Now, the copying on the Amiga was rampant, okay? The pirating, you may have heard the term cracktro. A lot of the cool music that came from that era were from cracks for games that then would allow you to play a game pirated. And the Amiga was very easy to copy games on, and copy protection was almost like a race on who could beat it first. So, I did not see many original floppies when I was a kid. My friend had just basically, like this thing. Like, here's a typical floppy, Shuffle Pack Cafe. This is a copied floppy, of course, which was copied. And you can notice the one thing with this is that this is 720K floppy. It is not a 1.44. The Amiga drive only goes that high, so it's not a full double density, whatever, diskette, floppy, whatever. So this is the one in question, or the floppy you use for these. Yeah, that's right. You could just send in, like, a lot of times with these crack drills, they would actually publish your address and phone number and everything in the intro of the game. And you often have the thing where you can set a trainer that will allow you to have cheats and stuff like that. And if you play any, if you get any Amiga packs with games now, like ADF files, or what they're called, the Amiga disk format, or Amiga disk floppy, I'm not sure. If you play that on emulators, you'll probably see that a lot. They have the cracked intro, but what we have here, what you see behind you here, is almost exclusively original discs, original floppies. So here we have Tetris, Xenophobe, I don't know what that is, Cyphos, this is public domain software, Ninja Mission, and the list goes on, and there's so many in here, and the kicker with these, here's Tetris, for example. The kicker with these is that these floppies are subject to disk rot. They're often stored in poor places and everything, and it will degrade the disk. So many of these are not able to be read. I have a little nifty device, actually, for cleaning them if I need to get to that point. So you can clean this with isopropyl alcohol, but spinning this is very difficult. But I had a friend a while back 3D print me a nice little bracket that lets you put the floppy in here. See if I can capture this here, over here. Put the floppy in, and it will hold it open for you. So now you have access to the actual magnetic disk. And then you can use this little nub here to spin it. So that way you can clean it quite easily on both sides if you need to. So we'll keep that in our back pocket. There's going to be a few possible outcomes on these. One might be that it works right off the bat. You're good to go. You put it in this game and it boots, and we're solid, right? And for those wondering, what you're looking up here is the Amiga OS boot screen. So this is version 1.3 or Kickstart, which is the bootloader for Amiga. There's no operating system because there's no hard drive. The operating system for the Amiga was normally called Amiga OS, or Workbench, so it loaded into to get to the desktop interface. But by default, this is what you get. Right now, there's a floppy seek going on. From the floppy, it's just constantly looking for a floppy. That's all it does. When I put a floppy in, it will find it right away. And I'll see I can do this. So the floppy cam has a microphone. I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to just use the microphone on the floppy cam, which you see over here. So let's try this. Now, you may not have heard that. There's a lot of background noise with this one. I tried noise canceling, but I canceled it out so much so that you couldn't really do much about anything. But you will hear the floppy seek, the click, click. So it's basically spinning all the time to check if there's a floppy in. And once you put a floppy in, it boots right into it. And that's it. That's the Amiga stuff. So, oh my goodness. WHD load is just a hard drive loading software. So many of these games are made to be run from this floppy, right? You can't just install this as it is. Some games allow you to install on the hard drive if you had a hard drive in your Amiga. Now, the 500 didn't support it. It didn't come with a hard drive at all. There's a sidecar expansion bay where you can basically install a hard drive if you wanted to. It was expensive at the time. But so what WHD load is basically a hardware optimized version of the game. And it is, the short summary of it is that it's a hardware installable version of a game. Most of the images you get now, maybe like a full bundle for the Mister, for example, most of those games are WHD load, and they've been converted and fixed. Because you can't just take this game for a floppy and just put it on a hard drive and run it. It doesn't work that way. You need a specific version of it that's made to run from the hard drive. So that's what WHD load is. Now, there's a lot more to it underneath, and I'm not an expert in. I haven't really messed with it myself. But at this point, you can make bundles with every game on WHD load. It's much more convenient, especially on emulator, because you might have a image that has all the games on it. Open a folder, double-click the game, launch it. Otherwise, you have to mount a floppy image for each one. So let's try this again now here, because the problem is I can't talk, because the microphone will pick it up on there as well. You get tons of echo. Yeah, so that's the thing. So we have a stack of games here. There's a few outcomes of these. One is that the game works flawlessly. Good to go. The second is that it has trouble reading it, and we can try a couple times. It might work. And the third one is that it's not going to work at all. We can do cleaning on it if we need to, but odds are a lot of these games you see behind me, I mean, there's a stash here. It goes like 4 layers deep here. I'm going to put a little masking tape mark on them so I know which ones are broken or don't work. We'll try a couple times. Many of these games just will not load. That's the expectation, because a lot of these floppies did not survive disk rot. These were definitely stored in a dusty or a basement environment. A lot of them were really dirty, and a lot of them still are. So we'll just see. But the reason I wanted the floppy cam was that it is a very distinct sound to me, and that's something you lose out on. There's something you can use a drive emulator or Gotek. You might have seen those. And the Gotek basically is I have one right here somewhere. It's over here. It's a thing that replaces a whole floppy drive, and you can basically put floppy images on a USB stick. That's the Gotek is nothing specific to Amiga, but there is a firmware for the Gotek that allows you to do that. Now, what you do then is you lose out on that fantastic floppy stick sound. To me, the loading on Amiga is so associated with that sound, which is a bummer. Now, people have figured out a way to put a buzzer on it, so it buzzes at the same time when it's loading, but it's not quite the same. So, to show that, I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to enable the microphone on the floppy cam, and I'm going to insert this Tetris game, and we'll see if this game loads. So this is Spectrum Holobyte Amiga. Original Tetris, copyright 1987. Yeah, the Amiga community is amazing. There's tons of new stuff coming out all the time. And the Mister makes it really a snap anymore. You can get a complete image that has an interface. You launch it, pick a game, and that's what we streamed, was probably 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago. We streamed Amiga on the Mister exactly, and we'll do that again too, because that is super convenient. And the Amiga is quote-unquote weak enough, it can be emulated on almost anything. You know, a Raspberry Pi can make it fantastic one-to-one Amiga. There's a image for the Pi that is a bare metal. It's actually not running like, you know, RetroPie or something. It's just an Amiga emulator. So when you boot the Pi, it goes directly into Amiga Workbench, for example, here, or the Amiga OS. So this Kickstart you're looking at on version 1.3 is on a chip on the board. So you have to replace the chip if you want to get a newer one. So, and yeah, there's tons of accelerators. The aftermarket support on the Amiga is huge, just huge. And for those that didn't see it, I'll move the camera here now so you guys can see. Well, I don't have a big image of that. Let me see if I can do this real quick. If I can break this here. Stand by. This is an old image. Don't worry about this old image. Ignore it. We're going to do this. And then let me do this. Stand by. There we go. You get to see this on the fly here now. All right. So there's the Amiga and parts of its glory. Let's see, where'd that go? There we go. So I'm going to pan the camera around so you can actually see the full Amiga here. And there we go. So the Amiga has this delightful, amazing wedge shape. And to me, it's very recognizable. It's a beige, fantastic computer with all the trimmings. And yeah, this particular machine I bought off eBay years ago before retro prices went. Let's see if I can get the camera back to where it was here. Before retro prices went bonkers again. We'll go back to the... there we go. Before the retro prices went just nuts again. And this one I think I got, that's the box you see behind me up here, right there. It came in box for like $100 with a whole bunch of floppies and everything you need to run the computer, which is a pretty good deal. And anymore, you don't get that, so. Yeah, the RAM goes in a very particular way, and there's 2 extra pins that I missed that has to go in just the right way, and it has to be the correct direction and everything. It's pretty finicky on that. Once you get it in, you're not never to take it out. Might as well finicky. So, all right, I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to enable the camera audio on the floppy cam, and we'll see if we can get some... Oh, no, sorry, you busted it. Oh, that stinks. Yeah, it's very particular which way you have to have it in, so sorry to hear that. Up to the hazards of the trade, I suppose. So, well, hopefully you get a new one here soon. I'm going to mute myself and then enable the auto camera, and you'll get to hear some glorious floppy seek sounds. We'll see if this one works. So I muted that there now too, but I wanted people to have the option because it's very noisy. It's so integral to the experience of the Amiga is to hear that sound. Yeah, that's the thing. Good evening, Suka. Sorry that happened, so. Hey, it launched. So first game success. Here's Tetris on the Amiga. It worked. I had to turn on my volume. There we go. So what you're watching is an actual RGB capture from the Amiga, and the Amiga outputs a RGB signal. 15 kilohertz, 240p. The problem with the RGB is that most capture cards don't like it. Unfortunately, the data path takes it like a champ. So basically I have the unique 25-pin connector that I think it's 25-pin RGB out I have an adapter that goes to VGA, and then that goes into data path for capture. I had a heck of a time with a rolling interference, and I figured out it was actually the power strip my VGA splitter was plugged into, and I moved to a different power strip, and then the rolling noise went away. So this is about as clean as you can get capture. I'm upscaling 240p to 1600 by 1200, and then I'm downscaling that to fit into the view window you're looking at. But the Amiga has a very distinct sound, a very unique sound that's amazing. And we'll hear a lot of cool music tonight, depending on which games we can work. So, yeah, data paths are a little bit of a finicky thing because they are pretty expensive anymore. When they do show up, I've seen them for 100 to 200. Expect to pay that, I think, between 100 and 200, depending on the condition and if they have the bracket. For my purpose, it is the end game capture device because it captures all these wonky things. Like the Amiga here now is captured just fine, right? And that flexibility is key for me. So, good evening, welcome. But yeah, we'll see now, Tetris. So, the Amiga uses DB9, the same pin output that the Genesis uses for its controllers. So Genesis controllers are identical in layout, and you can use them. However, the voltage is incorrect. You can hurt the Amiga or the controller by doing that. There are plenty of aftermarket controllers that you can play with the Genesis controller. I know some people have used them, but in general, most games on the Amiga were played with a joystick. So here we have a little really cheap joystick. I would love to get an original like Attack 2 or something. That's what I played on a lot on my neighbor's place. And there's a lot of good joysticks from that era. And of course, we have the iconic Amiga tank mouse. Here, I'll do this. This is the Amiga mouse that is just hilariously tanky. It's called a tank mouse because it looks like a freaking tank. So I don't know how Tetris plays on this here, so let's find out. Loading more. So I have a few games I know work, but there's plenty of games that I don't know yet. We'll see what music is here. And I don't know if the controls are joystick or if they're keyboard or what. We'll find out. Oops, that's down. Oh, you can change music. Awesome. There's the rotate. Alright, we're good. The Amiga has a phenomenal sound chip. Yeah, especially compared to what was out. Because, again, think about the fact that this came out then, and this game is... I'm terrible here now, but the audio capabilities were something else. I don't know that there was anything that could match the Amiga when it came out on audio. It just... I mean, of course, Commodore had a big or a strong music producer from the C64, which was kind of legendary in its SID chip. But the Amiga was something else altogether. And if you're wondering why I have a kind of weird angle I'm sitting now, long story short, I was going to use my PVM supports the 240p signal that the Amiga outputs. However, my freaking like cheap monoprice cable was stretched too thin and actually broke. So I didn't get any green, so it's got very, very purple. And it made it very distracting to play. And we're not going to hang out on many of these games that long, because, I mean, it's Tetris. You've seen Tetris many times. Of course, I just started playing Tetris. So anyway, we'll call Tetris a success. We're going to hard reset and remove it. One thing with this, the original eject button here actually broke, so this is a 3D printed one. So we'll put Tetris in the success pile. So we have a lot of games to go through. Some games might catch us and like get stuck on. Some games have multiple discs. That's the problem too. Some of these games may have like the third floppy is broken or something, and then that game is basically unusable, right? So yeah. We'll start with Tetris. Tetris is a known good floppy now, so I'm going to put that in a particular stash here. Let's see, what do we got? I'm just going to pick something random here now. We have Xenophobe. I don't know what that is, and I don't know if both floppies will work or not. We have two. I'm going to take a look, a quick inspection. The label is certainly seen better days. The door on it is actually a little bent too, so that's a risk too. If some of these are really bent out of shape, then it might cause a problem with the drive. We'll see, but hi Zoe, she's back. Hi Zoe. Oh, okay. So yeah, I have, of course, a very soft spot for the Amiga, mostly because my neighbor had it and I had a lot of experiences on it. And a lot of games from that era. I mean, Monkey Island, I saw that first on the Amiga, and I don't think Monkey Island's in the stash, unfortunately. There's no, like, games in here that are, like, the legendary games. It's mostly just random games, so... and that's the thing, too. Quite a few of these actually have worked the ones I've tested, so I'm just going to take the blank approach again. And I've found several games that do work. And the weird part for me now, Ted, I'm not sure if you grew up with the Amiga as well, or at least being in the UK. You know, Christopher? That... For me, seeing games without the crack trail is almost weird. Like, oh, it just launched a game. That's weird. So some of these may have a manual copy protection, meaning you have to look up something in a manual. If that's the case, I'll have to go and take a look and find it online. Because, I mean, I have the original games here. Look, I just don't have the boxes or the manuals. So we're going to try Xenophobe. So let's try real quick. I'm going to do the same thing with the floppy here now. You can probably still hear me pretty poorly. Switch back to my microphone right now, but we'll see. Some of these may load like this and then just fail out. Now, this is the drive light, the bottom one here. So you'll see that light up orange or green, or not orange, it'll be green to show that it's loading. But hey, I think it actually loaded. So Microstyle presents, for your enjoyment, Xenophobe. Now, this is two floppy, right? A lot of times they would put an entire intro on one floppy and the second floppy would be the game. So it's very possible we get past this and then like, whoop, that's it. Or it might be, a sector on the disk is bad or something like that. So we're going to run into ones that don't work. I certainly have seen ones that don't work, but, hey, so far we're batting 100, right? Or... Cool. That's a lovely picture. The Amiga games, in general, have amazing soundtracks. I think you're going to find more cool or good soundtracks than you will find bad ones. It's a very distinct sound to me. Again, it's a custom audio chip. It was not off the shelf, like versus the Atari ST, for example, which was the direct competitor from Atari, used a Yamaha chip, which of course has a very unique sound in itself, but it was an off-the-shelf component. This was a custom chip, and it gave the Amiga kind of a leg up in the sense that it just was so unique, so... And many of these games, I don't know how they are, what they're about, so... Music on, of course. Oh. Choose a character. And place to start. Well, can I be a duck guy? Absolutely, I'm the duck guy. So yeah, I'm playing on a flat panel that supports the Amiga resolution. It's a NEC multi-sync LCD panel. It's not great, but it supports the weird resolutions and refresh rates that the Amiga uses. So that's the reason I keep it around. If it was better, I would use it more. So here's the kicker now. Here's disk 2. Will disk 2 work? Let's find out. That's promising. It did load there. We'll see. It is still loading. You see the loading light going. So this is what's going to happen in a lot of these games. Is like you might be iffy which ones run or not. So again, we're not going to play that many games unless we find them be interesting. So, oh, nice. Early software emulators. It's easy to forget that now. You can basically emulate any system on your PC, right? With not anything, but I mean, the options we have for software emulation now are amazing. And you'll think back to the 90s, stuff like that. Like the early Nesticles and the early SNES and all that stuff, right? It was really, really, impressive back in the day, and now it's just like nothing. Emulating old systems now on new systems is so easy, but I'm not saying software emulation is easy or easy to program, but now we might get in a state like this where the game just basically just hangs, and that might be it, right? I don't know. We can try it again, but chances are the floppy is just not being read now. Sometimes it expects input to, but the fact that the drive light is perpetually lit up now is not a good sign, because it basically means that it's probably not able to read what it needs to right now. There's no activity, there's no noise coming from the floppy drive at all now. So I think, unfortunately, this is going to happen on a lot of them, is that we'll have basically this situation happen, where either it can't read it or there will be error out or something like that. So we can always try and load it again one more time. We can also try cleaning it. So we will do this, and we'll load up that again. While that loads, I'm going to clean it, and we'll try one more time. So I got all my isopropyl alcohol ready here. I'm going to put a little blue thing on this floppy here eventually if this does not load now and say, like, this one doesn't work. Now, you do have the risk that this is gunking up your actual drive, too. So there is that risk, and I should probably clean the drive head after doing all this stuff, because this is just going to keep bugging it down. So, yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. A lot of the things, often you would basically run a copy of the game. You wouldn't run the actual real disc because you don't want to damage it. It was kind of known that they would, have a problem eventually. So just kind of cleaning it here with isopropyl alcohol. I'm not sure there is. Most of the time I knew back in the day, people just had those plastic, like, lift top floppy disk holders. That's all I knew from back when. So we're going to try and clean this. It's convenient, but it's still tricky to use, so a lot easier if you did it without any tools. So we're going to spin it a whole bunch around to let the isopropyl alcohol dry. So I'm just spinning. Yep. That's the thing. These are not going to survive. I mean, that's floppies will not survive over time. There's no way around it. They're not made for that longevity. They never were intended for. And the fact that some of these still work is pretty amazing, because I mean, this game is from, let's see, there's no copyright on it there. Let's see. This software is copy protected. Tampering and diskette, so 1989. As we get to these older ones, right, that's inevitable what's going to happen, so. Now, I may not spend too much time cleaning. I'm just going to see if this works or not, but I don't want to spend too much cleaning because we have a lot of games I want to test and go through, and some of the floppies are, like, literally grody. At that point, I probably will not put it in the drive. It's kind of asking for trouble, but we will try a few and see. So now this one has been cleaned with isopropyl alcohol to the best of my quick ability here versus doing a deep clean. So we'll see if there's any difference at all. Press fire. They may only have one button, so. Did the same load thing again here now. We'll see. I heard spinning, I heard loading, but Still getting floppy seek, but now it's stopped. That might be a... That's still going. More than it did last time. I'll probably go back to the same spot here now. I think I'm going to probably call this one a goner. We'll give it just a few seconds here, but then we'll move to a different game. So, as I said, we have a lot of different games here. I'm more inclined to test some of the ones that are on single floppy, because we have so many here. And just so many games. And if I do multi floppies, I have to find the first and second. So this was just at the top here. So, all right, I think we're going to call that one a goner for now. I'm going to put a little piece of blue tape on it, or a... So I'll put a masking tape on the door here, so I know that this is a bad floppy. We'll add that to the pile. Xenophobe 1, of course, was okay, so we're going to run into that situation more often than not, I think. So, let's go to a different game now. Let's see, I know some of those work. We'll go through some. Well, here's one that will be pretty freaking neat if it works. This is Turken, which may be one of the more legendary Amiga games. I'm not feeling lucky with this one. It actually has... This might be a homemade one. Because it's weird. It's got like a Computer City logo on here. You can't really see that. You can see it almost here, but... It has a Computer City Supercenter, free replacement of defective. This might be a home printed one. I'm not sure. We'll see if there's a crack draw on this one, but we'll go to the other camera again quick. Amazing. Turken. The music in this is next level. I'm glad this worked. Turken is a legendary game. That really hits a high note on the Amiga, so... I'm not good at it. It's hard as hell, but... Chris Holzbeck made the music for this. A legendary composer that did many of these kind of games from this era. And this makes the sound chip in the Amiga really shine. It's very metal. And Turken was ported or recoded to, I think, virtually every platform from the era. There's a Genesis version, of course, and there's a Super Nintendo version, things like that. Oh, I have to move? Well, good luck with the move. Alright, we'll go into Turken. I'm glad that worked. This is cool to have. Now, you may see that the screen is off-center. It's bizarre. The Amiga has really weird, like, timing on its video, so a lot of the video... And it's off-center on the VGA monitor, too. Well, hope it didn't freeze there. I think it froze. Oh, never mind. There we go. The weird part is that you push up to jump. Oh, this music. The problem with this game, I think, above all, there's no damage iframes. You just keep taking damage until you're dead. There's nothing. You just keep taking damage and you die. Like that. Boom. You look in the bottom right corner, the health bar just drop like a rock. Yeah, I think it's awesome that we still have people making music for these kind of obsolete systems. Because, I mean, it's great. I mean, you get, like... You know, SNES style music, chiptune music, all that stuff, especially if it's made on original hardware, it usually sounds really cool, and understanding better of the limitations of the platform, too. Oh, it works. It just controls really bad. Yeah, the visuals are really good. There we go. There's different ways to do... Very nice, smooth animation. There's a way to go into a ball, too, but I'm not very good at it. Yeah, there's no denying that playing with the joystick is an acquired taste. But this will be, you know, late 80s, right? So this would have been just very good compared to everything else. I think I would enjoy this game a lot more if it weren't for the fact that the damage is uninterrupted. You basically die as soon as you touch an enemy. Like, boom. So, Turrican works. That is a huge win because that is a great game to have on hand. Now, it's loaded into memory, so until it needs the floppy seek again, it's not going to do anything. You can keep playing, but until it does need to load the next level or something, then it will look on the floppy again. But it's now in memory. You don't do anything else. You don't need the floppy in, so you can keep playing. Eventually, it will run out, but Turrican, working. That is a good thing. Let's see what we got. We have Cyphos, Disc 1. We'll have to put that aside, because I need to find Disc 2 for that. What do we have? Road Wars. 1988, Arcadia. I don't know. Let's find out. We'll reset the Amiga. There's a Amiga, and Control. We'll reset the Amiga to the boot screen, so... Well, at this rate, we will not make through the third of this pile. We'll see. I'm feeling we're going to start running into discs here now that don't work very well. And as I switch it again here, you may notice that some of these, when I read it, it's going to be like just grinding noises or dragging or, you know, something like that. Something's really wrong with the floppy. It's very possible we'll run into that eventually here. I'll take a quick look at this one. This one grinds a bit. That is not a good sign. It means also that there might be some grain or dirt or something stuck inside. I want Ted to survive out of this here. If there's dirt stuck inside the floppy itself, then that's pretty much game over because it's going to scratch and everything. Especially if these have been stored pretty poorly. I'm going to do a quick one, so I'll run this one because it looked like there was some dirt in there. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these that don't work, but I also don't want to break my drive as I put those in there. Because the Amiga floppy drive is actually unique in the sense you can now anymore, but you can't just plop a PC floppy drive in there. You can't just smack one in and be done. It has to have a specific controller, and it's a specific type of drive. Only certain ones that do work off the bat, which has to do with the heads, I think, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I think there are now ways to you can mod a PC drive to work, but you can't just take a standard 144 floppy drive and plop it in here. That's not going to work. You need either a modded one or an Amiga specific one. That's pretty much your option. So let's see if Road Wars work. Ew. I'm no expert, but that doesn't look very good. It could be memory corruption or something otherwise too. Who knows? I don't think so. I mean, everything else has worked fine, but you may have loaded this incorrectly or something like that, but it did work. And that's the thing too, you're right, Chandler, because if you take away that aspect of the Amiga or the loading experience of putting floppy in, I don't know, it's really integral to it, which is why I kind of want to keep this stock. Holy buckets, it loaded. Wow, this is a pretty quiet volume here. We'll see if it actually gets it to the game or it's going to crash right now. Boy, it loaded it. There we go. Well, it's reading it, so... Now, of course, this is a 720k floppy. The load speeds on Amiga is not fast. Just be warned, most games load very, very slow. That's just the way it was. And I remember spending so much time watching my friend just keep plopping in discs. Some games were just brutal. Whoa. Freaky. Cool. I see, I have to get him back into ball form. I think. Sweet game. Love it. I'll try one more time. Yeah, the cassette drives. I remember I had a friend who had a Commodore 64, and he wanted to show me Superman 64. We literally never were able to, Oh, I see. Now I get it. We're competing here. 3D art. I should not pick up those red things. They're bad. Whoops. I need a better joystick. It's so gummy. Okay, well, there we go. What? You gotta do this. Pretty much have to. I mean, I'm reliving my youth here now. Perfect. Okay, so that's one game that works. We'll put that in the works pile. That's great. We're having a pretty good track record so far, honestly. I would expect a lot of these to not work. So we may get into more, because who knows where they were in a box. I don't know. But let's see what else we can find here now. Oh, here's another one we have to try. I'm Batman. This is Batman, copyright 1964. 1989 Ocean Software. This actually, if I remember right, is a pretty darn good Amiga game. So we're just gonna YOLO it and try it. So we'll go back to the ASMR cam, which I know my voice is being picked up here too, but it's probably pretty poor on that one. Very noisy. So holy crud, we're having much higher success rate than I thought we would so far. It might change here soon, but evening, Mike. Welcome. We're testing Batman on the Commodore Amiga right now, and I'm a little amazed. So if you're not familiar, we're testing a whole bunch of floppies. Behind me, I have a huge stack of original Amiga floppies. And we're testing the games to see which ones actually work or not, and so far, pretty darn good. I'm a little shocked. Batman. Now, as it loads, you never know what's going to happen, if it's going to crash, or, you know, what's going to happen here now. It's not a guarantee that the entire floppy works, but some of these games can be assumed to work. It might crash later on. You play like 3 levels or something and it crash. Who knows? But the fact that some of these are, at least are booting as frequently as they are, is a little amazing. Ow. Remember that time they threw grenades at Batman's head? I hate that part. I can't jump at all. I like that the Michael Keaton Batman is more like, he's not a ninja, he just walks around like a thug, like, you know. Toxic gas. Yeah, it does remind me of gods, you're very right. But yeah, I remember, like, a lot of times with my friend, like, so what happened was my friend across the street that had an Amiga, his brother would go to, like, a party or whatever, and he'd come home with a little shopping bag of copied Amiga floppies, because if you say the word X copy, everyone had 2 drives. Now, unfortunately, my external drive, I do have one, doesn't work. I've tried to get it to work, but it just will not work. So can you jump here? Because I don't want to, like... Oh, I can do diagonal, too. Whoa! Well, Batman works. Doot, doot. It's unfortunate because I bet this would look great on the PVM, so I'm playing this then on a flat panel, which is a bummer. The cable broke, and I ordered a new one, and I said it would arrive today, but, you know, supposedly it's supposed to arrive today before 10, but it did not make it here in time for the stream, but oh well. You guys get the full RGB experience. Okay, Batman, great. Alright, Batman success. That is very surprising, I have to say. I didn't expect that one to work. I don't know why, but... Dumb Batman. Okay, so let's see, what else do we have? That's right, I'm gonna try this one. I don't even know what this game is. I think I remember seeing the box for this. This is Psygnosis Obliterator. A very nice title. There's definitely some dust on here, so I'm gonna do a real quick spin on this one. Sooner or later, we're gonna find ones that are just purely unreadable. That's inevitable. I am, again, a little amazed that we had this many work, because when I got this, there was basically a big box sitting, a huge cardboard box, and so what happened was that I went to a yard sale or garage sale, and unfortunately their son had passed away, which is very sad, but they wanted the games. They had a lot of big box games and Amiga games, and they were really excited to make it go to someone who would use it, not just have to trash it. So we talked for a while and everything, and they were very gracious. And then, yeah, he basically had a boatload of floppies, like these original ones. And I haven't really tested them all. Like, I tested a few, but this is our opportunity to test a lot of these, so... And, yeah, that's the thing. I was right in an age range. My brother had a Commodore 128. I didn't have a computer at the time because I was too young. It was NES for me. My neighbor had an Amiga 500. That was my entire exposure. I never had one until much later. I bought this probably like 10 years ago. Maybe less. Yeah. Yeah, more than 10 years. My goodness. 2008, I think. On eBay. So I could get back into the Amiga game and everything. And this one is unmodified. It's the bone stock Amiga, including the memory expansion is not working. So it's a full bone stock Amiga. So, alright, we'll switch to the ASMR cam again. I should have named it that instead. The Psygnosis games are all often high quality. Psygnosis was a major developer. I think they've been merged into making Call of Duty stuff now, unless I'm completely mistaken, but Psygnosis is a British-based, UK-based development group that made a lot of games for the Amiga. Tons of games, so... Yeah, we'll see if I have... Oh, look at this graphics, ooh! Oh, he's mad now. Oh no! Thanks, I appreciate it. Look how happy he is. He's so excited. Psygnosis also had just really bizarre, like this Geiger-esque, like, visual design. And this is a perfect example, like this biomechanical stuff. And a lot of their covers are just, like, fantastic. I think I have some big box Amiga games, too. And if we have time or... this doesn't work out or I want to change the pace, I can grab some of my original big box games too that have Amiga stuff. So, but I'm glad that the camera worked out. I realized as I did this, like, I have to capture the audio. It's from the audio from the drive reading. It sounds pretty bad right now, but press any key to begin the mission. Welcome to the world of Obliterator. I have a good feeling about this. Which one's the any key? Let's see if it loaded correctly there. Yeah. Yep, it's blinking. I think it has a memory stuff going on there. Oh, yeah, there's a software failure. So this is a guru meditation. Basically means a blue screen, the equivalent of blue screen. So we could try and bypass it, but I have a feeling it's not going to load. This is the scenario we might have where basically we have corruption. So it reloaded it. We'll see if it gets past that. It probably means that that sector on the drive or the disk is bad. Which the game loaded, which is more than I expected, but... 1988. Oh, that sound there. Very typical Amiga. Okay. Let's load. Or we're loading the huge title sequence into memory. Can we skip this? Nope. He's mad. He's real mad. Just, you know, the image is static, and then they have small sections that are animated, and that's how it does it. So it's unique. I love the fact that Amiga has that perfect, like, convergence of, like, the hardware limitations mean that the programmers had to be pretty creative. And what they did was pretty amazing towards the end, especially if you look at some of the demos. The demo scene was huge on Amiga, where you basically use math to create graphics and try and get stuff that you wouldn't think should be possible on Amiga, like 3D graphics and stuff like that. And some of those are just, like, incredible. Absolutely incredible. And especially you look later in life with Amiga when they really knew how to use it. Yeah, I think not looking likely. I have a feeling there's a memory problem reading from this point here. Oh, we got past it. Never mind. Oh, the frame rate is like 2. Did I hit? I don't know. Whoa. The music is awesome, though. There's a Barbarian, which I believe I have in the stack here. Ooh, ladder. Great music, but that runs slow. Listen to that music. Trying to find a good audio volume. Every game seems to have a different audio volume here now, so if it's too loud or too quiet, just let me know. This got very hints of Commodore 64 audio too, with that kind of the SID chip noise there, but boy, it is slow. Oh, nope. Oh, yeah, that's too bad. It's just a lot of developer studios that were purchased like that. Oh, we just smacked into the wall. Really got hurt. Yeah, this is very floaty, and it's weird to control, because you tap once to go. Can I go in here? Nope. Oh, it's so slow. Well, the game works. I just have to... It might be that, you know, I have to spin through the reader a couple times. I think you can use mouse controls on this. Oh, wow. Oh, man. Aha. But this may be more intended for the Amiga 1200 or something like that, too. So the Amiga 1200 was more powerful. It had a faster CPU, because we're running here at, like, 3... I mean, it's a Super Nintendo clock speed, basically. I think it's 3 megahertz, something like that. Was it 5? Someone's looked that up quick. I don't remember the RISC processor, the Motorola processor in here, what it runs at stock. It's not fast. I mean, by today's standards, of course, but the game works. Aha, I obliterated him. That's true, we could be using that to offload and stuff, especially the large sprites. That's the one thing I would like to get. I do have a memory module, like I said, but it does not work. The reason was, I took care of that now, actually. It had the Barrel of Death water battery on there, so I got rid of that. I didn't realize it had one, and I think it corroded that board to the point where it doesn't work, so... Yeah, either it needs some memory, or it just was not intended to run on a stock A500. It might want the faster clock speed of the faster processors. I think this would run a lot better if you did. So. Sounds about right. Well, still, the game does work, so we'll call that good at least. I think we can call this one working, so... Slowly, but working. Let's see what else we can find. There's just so many games to pick from here now. I'm trying to find something I don't recognize. Let's see. Well, pretty much I'll try this one. Ninja Mission. There's a boatload of platformers on Amiga, to the point where it's almost ridiculous. Like anything from this era, platformers were the reigning king, if you will. And especially on Amiga, there's so many, I don't want to say shovelware, but there's a lot of platformers that are just, you know, they kind of play alright, but not good. So, Ninja Mission by Mastertronic from 1987. Switch to the ASMR cam. Started. Never gets old, does it? That sound is just, I don't know what it is with the Amiga specifically, and it just sounds so good. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's awesome. There's a lot of accelerators, basically varied. I think usually, someone correct me, I think they basically contain the faster processor on there, on an expansion card, that basically bypass the internal processor of the Amiga and then running faster. Back then, they were expensive upgrade. You can buy a lot of aftermarket ones now that use FPGA chips for the same thing. That are all pretty much awesome. They add features like, you know, Wi-Fi, or they add features like, you know, hard drive storage, and generally awesome things. They are expensive because they were expensive to develop, so several $100s. And at that point, it's a weird balance, because I enjoy having a stocky unit in that sense, because I can get my boosted Amiga feel on the Mister. Meets that difference. It's still FPGA, so not loaded too. We're batting pretty good here right now. Hello. Oh, this line runs a little better. Look at this frame rate. The music is so-so, perhaps, but... Ooh. Hero. Score. It looks like it's approaching one. Oh, it's like a thug. Ninja kicked the damn rabbit. Very weird controls. Well, that was ninja kicking in. Let's say, oh my god, Shredder's Revenge is like the best Turtles game ever. I just want to say that. Loving it. Playing it out on the Steam Deck now. It's so good. This game works as well. See, it looks really good on the capture because it's so clean compared to what I'm looking at on my VGA panel, which is not very good. Karateka. That's a call out to that game. Karateka is a, I think, right? It's not a game where I'm thinking of International Karate Plus. Look at that bird up there. Look at that flavor color. Whee! I'm so excited to be a ninja. Yay! Well, that works. We'll put that in the Ninja Mission correct pile. That works. So we got a stack in it. Now, I'm not saying these will always survive or whatever, so... Dragon Wang, that's right. Let's go through this pile here. I'm just trying to find random stuff. So now, I do have Dragon's Lair here. That is on 6 discs, so maybe I should start making a pile of the ones that are multi-disc. We gotta try Flight Simulator. That's kind of iconic. I'm gonna put the Dragon's Lair one. That one I need for later here. Oops. So much stuff to keep track of. Let's see. Bard's Tale... So I'm trying to collect all the Dragon Slayer ones, because that's kind of an iconic game for the Amiga, but I'm trying to find... We'll try... Which one did I make a pile already? We'll try Flight Simulator next, so we'll go back to main. This is F-18 Interceptor. The Amiga had a boatload of Flight Simulator, and it's funny now, you watch or play them again now, and they are not fast. This game I may not go that deep into, because I don't know. Usually these sims are really complicated. So it's really hard to know exactly just taking off. But they can look visually impressive. They're usually very impressive visually. But also super complicated. But the flight simulators was a big deal on the Amiga. So, all right, let's switch to the other cam. High success rate. So what this did now is actually dropped this into the Workbench, which is basically the desktop OS for the Amiga. And they're basically asking you to launch this or run it from here like the way you would, and loads it into Workbench. And look at that. Look at that icon there. That is an icon. And then when you click it, look at that. Yeah, a little bit. It's, you know, especially for me, I saw Civilization on the Amiga first. My friend played it and got into it, and of course got completely sucked in. And yeah, that's the thing, is like you got the A500 Mini to play with. There's a lot of really cool options for emulating Amiga today. You can do just on your PC very easily with WinUAE. You can use the Mini. You have, you know, any Pi will do it. You can run the bare metal version of it that basically runs directly on the Pi instead of running it in like RetroPie, for example. You have the Mister, of course, the original hardware, which is a little more finicky, but there are so many options for playing and enjoying the Amiga library today that make it quite easy to explore. So enjoy to explore too, because if you like 16-bit graphics or 8/16-bit, think Master System, NES, Genesis, and this work too. It is a joy to explore this library, because you're going to find a lot of games that are just kind of like, this is just another platform or whatever. There's a lot of those. I mean, the bedroom coding basically came about with the Amiga almost. Like, I know the C64 ahead of that, but it took off with the Amiga because there were many tools that users, their creators, could use to make actually pretty impressive game. Amos was the Amiga operating thing that people used for making games. A friend of mine used it, and it was almost like not a set of click and play level, but not far off. It was quite flexible in how you could make games, and I would come over to my friend's house after school, and we'd just spend a few hours and like work on a game and have a game ready in a few days. It was just a simple top-down platforming kind of experience or puzzle game, but you can still do that, like, you know, sprite rotation and animation. You have to write the code too. But it was a very flexible machine, and it did all this stock. Like, you could expand it, but the A500 did all this what you're seeing now stock. This is a bone stock machine. So for 1985, or when the Amiga 500 came out, probably 86 or 87, 500 basically is an Amiga 1000 kind of shrunk down to a more consumer-friendly format. The 1000 was the first Amiga with a lot more features, but the 500, of course, if anyone can correct me now, I'm not the big, yeah, exactly, probably assembly. I'm not the expert here now on this, but I know enough about the Amiga history. So yeah, the Amiga CD was the last thing. It's basically like Amiga 1200 that was made into a CD console format. So yeah, I saw him talk about that. I really want to watch that, because Carmack, of course, is the something different. I mean, he operates on a whole other level from the rest of humanity, I think. But yeah, so what Ted's pointing out there, the CD32 is basically an A1200, which was the successor to the 500. And I think the A1200 is probably the most desirable Amiga to have, unless you go into the ones that are like, the Amiga 4000 is the last like desktop Amiga, and that's the most powerful one and most expandable one. So that's the one everyone wants. But the CD32 basically was an Amiga with CD support. And there were some games that came out for it. It just was too late and too little. It just wasn't enough for that point, where Commodore was already going downhill fast, and the CD32 was supposed to be like the last hurrah, and like, we're going to turn everything around, mismanagement, all that stuff. So I do need to follow up again. I did have a very generous friend of the channel here that was going to donate me a Amiga 2000 with a toaster in it. I need to follow up on that again. That would be really fun to have. The 2000 is basically a desktop version of the 500, as far as I understand, with more expansion options. Because with the wedge shape, there's only so much you can do with expansion. It's not made for that. It's got an integrated keyboard, you know, it's got one expansion memory spot underneath, and it's got one module on the side for expansion, a sidecar. Yeah, the video toaster actually is fascinating, because if you watch any local broadcast TV in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, chances are it ran on a toaster. And when I say that, toaster was the video editing suite that Amiga provided. Right? And again, Ted, you probably know more about this than I do, so you're welcome to chime in there, but the toaster was a basic revolutionary for the time editing suite, because normally a TV station then who wanted overlays and stuff like that, right? They wanted to do cool stuff. They would have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on this professional video equipment. And then the Amiga came in with the toaster expansion cards, and they could do all that stuff integrated. They can make the transitions and the flying stuff like that much, much cheaper. And it was self-contained. You bought an Amiga with a toaster in it. That's what the video encoding card was called, right? The toaster. And you could do all that integrated. And it revolutionized that part. Now, it didn't last, but odds are, if you watch TV local broadcasts during that era, chances are the graphics were made on a video toaster. Press any key. Not write enabled. If you wish to keep a log, insert an initialized and write enabled disk into the and press return. Just press return. So what they're saying here is that if you want to save your progress or log, you can put in a blank floppy. And many games did this, where you don't want to write to the original floppy, so you load the game, and then you're able to put in a second disk to write your saves to. Now we're just going to run without a save. Ooh, demo. I'll just do a demo. I don't want to see what it looks like. So now we spent a lot of time on this game, which we know works now. Look at that. I think we'll do... Yep, I believe so. Babylon 5 was all done on Amiga 4000s and toasters, I think, so... Frame rate? Yes, we have it. No, that's fine. I think I get going on Amiga mostly because I was on the peripheral of it. I didn't experience it besides my friend having it and playing there. So that's where I'm nostalgic for it. But the Amiga is a fascinating platform that has a lot to offer. If you have video editing, you have graphics, like this, pretty advanced 3D graphics for the era. 3D models and vector-based graphics and everything. Now, frame rates, forget about it. But... wait, I'm not going to get a strike on that one. And it did so much, and I think that's what was impressive. Again, this hardware is from 1985. This hardware is from when the Nintendo 8-bit came out. And yes. Right, now, that said, the 8-bit was from earlier era, of course. Well, the Nintendo was developed as a Famicom in Japan and all that. Did you know Mario 2 was Doki Doki? Sorry. But I think... taken for the era between 85 and 90, the Amiga was incredibly impressive, and it dominated the European computer scene, I think, at least from where I was. So I think we can call this game good. It seems to be working, right? So that's a flight sim that's working. We'll put that in the work stash. Now, Ted, you will get everything you ever dreamed of, because I have a game here that is called Sex Vixens from Space. I don't think this work. We'll try real quick to see the boots. I probably won't play it because I don't know the risque level on this, but it's from Free Spirit Software from 1998. Yeah, Sex Vixens from Space. So, PG-13 channel. We will see if this loads. I think this may not. I don't think we'll get to Floppy 2 on this one. I just want to see if it loads. I'm just curious. I'm quick on the reset button. Oh. Too bad. So sad. I don't have the floppy protection or the copy protection. I have to look that up. So I'm not sure we're going to get all there into that to do that. I just wanted to see that this game does exist. And I just like the fact that there's this kind of game in the middle of the stash of like flight sims and action games. And just, there were commercial grade software like this. But I also realized whatever's on here, it might be just a kind of a humorous thing more than anything. I have no idea what this game is. But the game loads. We'll put it aside for further research later. What's this? Creature, Amiga Orbit 1. Actionware. Alright, I don't know. We'll check it out. It pivoted away from that one quickly. I can't have both microphones running at the same time because you get an echo if I do that, unfortunately. So the ASMR cam is just using a webcam. That's why the audio is really bad. Okay. Orbit 1. Creature. Setup. I think you can copy it here. Look at that. It's got templates and skull and... I don't know what most of these games are, but... So yeah, like I said earlier, Chad is launching basically a self-contained shell here to launch the game, so... Or I'm amazed we haven't run into more issues. Now, we haven't gone through that many games, because I have a stash here, right? So I'm going to pick up the pace here on hopping games quicker to see which ones work. Because we're over an hour in, and we've done, like... Let's see... 10 games. And that works, apparently. Message from Paul. Colony security. Hey, pal. Lucky you're asleep. Just got another call from those silly colonists. Sounds like the sewers are backed up again. Send out some plumbers. I'm assuming it's some poor platform. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's not really... you can't really overclock this much. You pretty much just replace the CPU. When it comes to the Amiga, your only option really is to put a faster clock cycle CPU in to get faster, and you'd use an expansion card for that. You can slot in some processor upgrades, but that's pretty much tied to the crystal speed of the... Yeah. It's loading too. I am amazed that so many of these are working. Well, now it's going to probably going to die here now, but we'll see. Yeah, so the Amiga, you can basically... That's not alien. Not at all. I don't know if it's loading or what now. Yeah. Insert the orbit disk to... Oh. See if I can find that real quick. Do I have to? I didn't see disc 1 of 2, so... They're not organized as the problem at all. They were just a bundle or stash, so... We'll see if I can find it real quick. There are so many games in here. Because I had planned to basically set aside any multi-disc games until I could find more. I have to come back to that one. This floppy, of course, worked, so... Let's see, what color was this? Gray. Let's see if it's the same color. Oh, games falling everywhere. All right, we'll come back to that one. We know that one works. I'll put it in the works pile, at least the game booted. So, disc 1. There's too many games here now. There's so many. I don't know what to pick from. Let's see. A version for Amiga, Downhill Challenge. It sounds like a biking game of some variety. I'm assuming. Yeah, we'll try it. That one sounds a little iffy. Probably skiing, you're right. I'm just a little flabbergasted. It's so far we had such a success rate. I'll have to find more. I should organize the ones that have multi-disc ones. There's 3 disc 6. So Dragon's Lair for Amiga is on like 6 floppies. So that tells you how much floppy swapping you gotta do. There you go. Yeah, just a snowflake there. I don't know. I'm a little surprised. Now, there's tons of floppies left here, but I did not think that this many would make raids. Ooh. I don't know, Ted, maybe you can answer that. You had to have an accelerated card, right? You can't just take the CPU out and smack in a faster CPU. Like, everything will break on Amiga. Not break, but nothing will run right. You need an accelerator that handles that right versus just swapping in the CPU. This is like very ski or die. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's something unique about the artwork and everything from this era. It's very charming. And yeah, I don't know. I love it in the sense for what it is, because you can feel it's rooted in like the 8-bit style, but it's in 16-bit, obviously. But it still feels rooted in the 8-bit sometimes. So, because it's not like, Super Nintendo, I think, had better graphics on that level, but this could do more stuff. I think it's loading still. I just want to see if it gets into the game itself. Yeah, every time I click it now, it's just not doing anything. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so you want to accelerate a card now. There is something that's come out fairly recently for the Amiga. Exactly, yeah. They expect that because this was a stock Amiga, right? So you can't just boost it and run everything better. Some games will handle it probably, but a lot of them will not. Oh my. My character model is amazing. Look at that. We may have to put this one in the maybe pile, I think. I'll create a maybe pile. The graphics were impressive if I wasn't a glitch. When I returned to glitch skiing. Yeah, I think it did not load that correctly into memory, which leads to believe that it runs fast. Very cool. Yeah, that's a question. It probably just wasn't able to read the floppy correctly. I mean, it's not impossible there's some problem with the memory on the Amiga as well, but the other games so far have not proven that. So if it loaded the asset incorrectly, right? Let's go until I found the Yeti. Amazing. Okay. All right, we'll put that in the maybe pile, I think. We'll make a maybe pile over here, because that one I'm going to have to check out again. So, we can try it one more time, real quick, just to see if it loads with that same asset or not. I could also clean the floppy and do that. I can try this one. I don't want to spend too much time on each game, because we have a lot to go through, so... yeah, you can get really... really fancy with accelerators. So yeah, they have the Vampire, and then you have the Wisher, I think, W-I-C-H-E-R, that came out, and there's a Terrible Fire one that's more open. And recently, one thing that came out was the, what's the one called? It's basically like, yeah, at that point, you're basically running an entire, almost Amiga side card from it, right? And what's the other one that came out recently is the Pi-based one. You basically put in a Pi in the spot of the CPU. And at that point, well, it loaded faster this time, I think. At that point, you are... Hi, Storm. Yes, thank you. At that point, you're basically emulating the CPU. It's running a CPU emulator, and it can be run way faster than anything else. And then you get into that gray zone, like what's real hardware or not. The cool thing with that is very cheap. A lot of those hardware accelerators are very expensive. The Pi Storm is, in theory, quite cheap by comparison, so... See if we still have corruption. It leads me to believe that if it does, there's probably just something about the floppy, so... Yep. I feel that floppy is just... I don't have a shadow now. Getting a little better. I could probably clean this one and get a better result, but... And let's see. What is this? Tunnels of Armageddon for Amiga. From California Dreams. I do like my tunnels, and I do like my Armageddons, so... True. That sounded good. Oh, loaded. Yeah, you're right, Ted. This is definitely on. I have not recapped on anything with this one. So far, this machine is good, of course, but I mean, it could probably use a full recup and, you know, full clean and everything. So, I mean, it's still operating fine, but, you know, I should get a new power supply and all that stuff. But it's like, you pretty much spend hundreds of dollars on getting the machine to a good state. And then you'd look at it as like, you could just play until it breaks, basically. Or, you know, you could do it on the, if you want to do really just experimentation, do it on the Mister. It's kind of like, it's hard to say. Now, all things should probably eventually need to be recapped. I did check the caps around this machine. I didn't see anything that was bulging, but, I mean, it's a matter of time, right? It's got some Elite vibes here now with the almost classical music going on. I think these aren't like they're just gonna explode. Like, it's not like the Sega CD or some of those other ones around that era that I understand are pretty bad. I think Amiga at this place, at least on the 500, used... Oh, this is a code wheel. I don't have the code wheel, so... This is the copy protection. I don't have the physical code wheel. So, oh, I did a demo, okay. Oh, it's just demoing the game. That's neat. You can just plop it in the game and demo it, even if, Ooh, it's like a tunnel flying game. 3D. Remember, this has no, like, mode 7 or anything. This is, like, just scaling going on, right? So... Oh, really? Wow. 800 megahertz 6030, oh my. This runs actually quite fast for being on here, but the graphics are, you know, you see the blocks are pretty large. Still, the fact you could do this on this machine. So, I mean, the game works, I just don't have the copy protection. So I would say that's a success. So, call that one good, even though I can't play it. Exciting game there. Ooh, I'd try this. Test Drive 2, the Duel. Let's see how this one looks. That one I think I have on, was it the Passion I have? Let me look. Sorry, Test Drive 3 I have on PC and Big Box, so. Yeah, that's what's happening. I think a lot of times when you get in the accelerators and stuff like that, they're pretty much always now FPGA chips, because it gives you the flexibility. Because no one's going to build a custom chip anymore, right? Or source old hardware like that. So the FPGAs, I think, become very popular for the accelerators, because you can buy an off-the-shelf component, reprogram it for your purpose, so... A little squeaky there. Oh, gotta grease the hamster wheel. Nope. I think we encountered our first true dead one. That squeak sound. I'm not sure if that came across on the camera, but that was a very high-pitched squeak. I don't think it's supposed to do that. So this one, I think, will have to go in the dead pile. It's unfortunate. It's a cool game. Test Drive 2, the Duel. I was curious to see how well that would run, because I have a feeling it would run very, very bad, but... There, that was a good streak there of games that actually ran. Nice. All right, well, we'll find something else here now. Ew. Deep Space from Psygnosis. Psygnosis presents Blood Money. If anyone's played Amiga, Blood Money was a big deal. It's like a side-scrolling shoot 'em up kind of thing. Like Lander, you gotta like pick up stuff, whatever. So that's very ingrained into my brain. So so Psygnosis Deep Space. I don't know what this game is. I don't think I have any idea. That's not a good start. It's an owl person. Neat. Alright, so enough of that clicking there. But yeah, you see like the loading is like, it's so integral to the Amiga experience to hear that going on forever. And that launched. We're doing something here. If the game runs, I guess. But that is a shocking amount of success so far. Whoa, sorry about the flickering. That's a lot of flickering. Oh my, it's a full, like... manage a game here. It's like steering. Running at like speeds. Looks cool. Hold the handbrake. I have no idea how this game works, but clearly it does run. So let's just go that one good. Some of these games were really complicated, and it's interesting when they did this, like they were constrained by the format, right? And they got creative, and it was like, it was the Wild West of standardization, right? Now you kind of like how your WSD, right? Where that's ingrained in your brain now. That wasn't the case back then. And a lot of games were just using their own control schemes and had just massive quick guides with their keyboard shortcuts and everything. So, I'll find like random games here now. Demo disc. Ooh. Alright, that's a good one. We'll leave that in the pile there. I don't know what this is, but we'll try it. Yeah, there's so many games in here. We'll not get through all this. I might, at some point, just like pour myself a beer and just like go through these for an entire evening, like we're doing now, because my goodness. This is Hard Nova by Carl Buiter from 1991. Carl Buiter and Electronic Arts. This is the install floppy. We may need another one, though. We might save that one for later and see if I find another one, because it says install on there, and I might need, it's a 1 out of 2 discs there. And we'll try it. I'm feeling lucky. I'll leave that one for later. This is the install version of basically, and it's asking where you're installing it, and you pretty much install it into a floppy at that point, a blank floppy, if you will. So let's see what else we have. Disk 2. Arasox Tomb by Aegis Development. Next Frontier Corporation. Again, I have no idea many of these. Oh, that one's definitely, I'll do that one real quick clean, because it's definitely got a lot of dirt on it, so. Reset the Amiga. And yeah, the Amiga control. And the Amiga is almost like the Windows key on this, if you will. In some respect. Wipe this one down real quick. It's turning pretty badly, so this one might not be usable. So what they basically mean is that they use the floppy as a hard drive in a sense. You're installing the game onto a second one. So it will be like an extractor, meaning that it probably needs more than one floppies. Yeah, basically. That's what Ted said there. It's just like a zip file, right? It's basically letting you extract it somewhere, and it's too big to fit on probably one floppy, so they did it that way. Just a compressed version of the game, so. Oh, nice. Got a job there. Cool. All right, we're gonna give this one a shot now. I'm not so sure, but we'll find out. Oh. See if it takes 2022, a two-year date format. Okay. I'm gonna apologize. I have to swap around with the microphone because I can't enable the if I enable like better audio on here with the noise filtering, it just mutes out all the floppy sounds. Yeah, I think we just blew that poor Amiga's mind. It probably thinks it's 1922 because I doubt that they accounted for ooh. That's a cool logo. Yeah, I think we just broke this time stream now. It's running. That would be your C64 load command there, yeah, and then run. Yeah, I meant more like it wouldn't know, like, I assume it's using the, it wouldn't break or anything, right? But, huh. One game's type that was pretty popular on Amiga, too, was the Dungeon Crawler, you know, Dungeon Master, and those, you basically had a view window, right, where you built a party and you went through a dungeon. Those were quite popular in Amiga. There's quite a few of them. So I'm not sure if that's one of these. Pretty wicked graphics there. Niet. Can't hear right now, but it's still loading. Again, you can see the floppy seek, the drive here going on, so I could see that. I mean, that stretched that console pretty far. I remember when that game came out and everyone was like, oh, it's on 4 discs, wow! Like, the early multimedia era when it was a bragging point how many discs the game was on all the time. It's not fast, but yeah, so this is probably like that kind of game, yeah. Which seems to load. Like an adventure, you know, first-person adventure game, but I love the graphics and everything. Well, that is a lot of text right there. Let's go north. Ooh. Like an adventure game, but it seems to run. It's got speech to text. Or text to speech or whatever. Alright, well, that game works. Doesn't look super interesting, but we'll put that on the pile there. Let's see what else we can find there now. We have to check that one out. Just so many games here. Yeah, I'm a little surprised how many of these work. I don't think they've been played for a long time. The fact that we've had so many of them just boot up with no problems. Like, we've had a couple that were, or at least one that was dead, completely dead so far. That probably means it's been demagnetized or whatever. Alright, we'll go back here. This is the Bard's Tale by Interplay. And probably everyone's familiar with Bard's Tale. Amiga Personal Computer 512K. 1985, 1986. I never really played the original, so we'll see if this one works. That's not a happy sound. Is it still going? No, yeah, as you pointed out there, thanks, it was fun setting this camera up. So once you hear that crunching sound, like in the grinding sound, it usually means the floppy is, because I mean, you think about it, right? It sits, the magnetic floppy, the magnetic piece sits in between two like soft cushion things. When those start grinding, yeah, that probably means that you either have some dirt in there, whatever's going on. That means it's pretty much not good, because it doesn't have a free flowing speed anymore, and it might slow down and drag, and then we'll just grind it more. At that point, the floppy is not in a good state. So we'll put the mark on that one. So that was Bard's Tale. It was unfortunate. Also a kind of a legendary game. There's a lot of games here that are multi-floppies, so we'll try. We haven't tried a sports game yet, and here we have Gridiron, the football simulator, which sounds like a simulating, and this is actually not opening at all. There we go. It was just a little glued shut, and there's a hair from an unknown animal there. This is a good sign. I gotta go tell them about this one. You know what the best part is? Bethesda Softworks. I swear I'm gonna launch this game, and it's gonna be like, oh hey, you're finally awake. This one is definitely not clean on the outside. I'm gonna do a little quick cleaning on this one. I don't fancy my chances on this one. The cover literally would not open until I flexed a little bit. It was literally stuck, so it appears to have some unknown foreign liquid on the outside that is causing things to be gummed up. So I'm gonna give it a little isopropyl alcohol outside here too. If nothing else, that means that the inside was protected, right? If it couldn't open. We'll give it a shot. That one's a goner. I could have guessed that one. I figured sooner or later we're going to get into a pile here where things just aren't going to work so well. Yeah, exactly. We weren't very kind to these things. Now, to be fair, when we were doing this back then, my friend, again, would just have these stacks of, or like he had one of those like pull-out things with 2 rows of floppies, and they were all old copies. I mean, then he eventually, he bought B-17 Flying Fortress, which is a favorite of his, and he bought the big box for it, and he's like, holy crap, the game comes in boxes. I'm like, what? Because we thought games came with handwritten notes and labels. That's how we thought games were made, until we saw a real copy, and he bought that, and had a full manual, and fold out, and a whole bunch of cool stuff, so. Okay, what else we got? We got a few of these that are multi-disc. I'm going to have to start making piles of them so I can find them. Disc 2, Reel 1, Disc B, maybe pile. Yeah, I really should, but I'm feeling adventurous here now, so there's that. Okay, so we have another legendary game, which is on 3 floppies, and that's what happened. Especially when you were so afraid of these floppies not making it, you would inevitably make a copy even for personal use, and then play off that, because there's no reason back then to play the game off the originals, really. We're just testing tonight, but really you wouldn't for real. So this is Battle Isle by Blue Byte, Ubisoft, actually. I thought it was Blue Byte developed and Ubisoft published it, but Battle Isle is a very classic strategy game, a hexagonal-based, turn-based strategy game. And we're going to try that. It has a phenomenal intro, I remember, which was very high quality. It blew me away when I saw it. So we'll see if this loads. This is disc 1. All right, next up, my solar. See you later. From afar. It loaded. I'm gonna look for the next Dragon's Lair floppy here and try and sort out some of the multi-floppies. This is a very impressive intro. With great music. So we'll watch that. Yeah, the Amiga version was probably not the best one, right? It was impressive, but... okay, that's weird. I had 2 of those, okay. Disc A for that. So many of these games. Alright, I think we have a full set of the Dragon's Lair, so we can try that next here. 6 floppies. Great music and fantastic animation. We have not made it through many games, but I always thought the intro to this one was just really cool, and I don't know that it has much to do with the game, except, like, I don't know, the entire first floppy is just the intro. Yeah, we now have the Dragon's Lair here. All 6 floppies, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, in combination is my luggage. 6. My hands are getting dirty from handling all these floppies that have been in who knows what basement for how many years, so... Swiv, I love that game. I don't know that I ever saw it in a pile here. Who knows, we might get surprised, but I mean, we're, like, this is 1 stack. I picked up a stack here out of, like, 6, so... So many. And it's pretty cool too. This is one of those games on floppies, like many games came on like cover magazines or whatever, or magazine covers. I haven't seen Swiv yet, but this one, we'll put that one next here soon. There's that one, this one. I should have sorted this before. Alright, let's intro this. Yeah, so the Amiga is just not capable of running Doom. There has been many attempts to run like a first-person shooter on the Amiga, and there are some you can run on a faster Amiga. But Doom was never directly ported. It just not have enough horsepower. I think even Carmack himself said that it's just not happening. He looked at the architecture of the Amiga and realized that it was not powerful enough to do that. So, I don't know. I love these graphics here. These are great. But that's my understanding. It's just, at least they looked at it originally, realizing this is just not happening, you know. Yeah, there you go. I mean, breed it 3D. Insert disc 2. Let's see if that works. And there's a lot of options now that you can accelerate things better, right, than you could back then. We have much more horsepower now than you ever would have had on an Amiga, and that gives us flexibility to do that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Because, yeah, the Alien Breed 3D you're talking about there, and welcome, by the way, is, as I mean, I haven't played it, but it runs slow, very, very slow. It was very basic. It's more like Blake Stone, that style, and Doom, you know. This game has been working so far. I'm a little surprised. Now, the problem with this is that I'm going to put it in the works pile, but it's 3 floppies, and we're not going to get to the 3rd floppy, probably. But that's what I love when you have modern development for these old systems. It's awesome because you get stuff you never would have seen. And you look at, like, for example, the Sega 32X, that Doom 32X Resurrection thing or whatever. It's awesome. It's like they know how to use the hardware, and it pushes it further, and you have homebrew coming out and stuff like that, and it's sweet. I'm just curious if it gets into the game. That's all I want to see. Because I played this quite a bit with my friend across the street. He invited me to play this, and he's like, "Oh, this is a cool strategy game. You gotta come check it out." And I'm like, "Oh, sweet." And then he said, like, "Well, I'm pretty good at this, so, you know, you probably won't, like, you know, you probably won't beat me." And I beat him on the first round. And I remember he's like, "Fine, you can go home now." He was a little butthurt about that, but, you know. But this is a really cool, and there's a lot of different versions of yeah. Came, I saw, and I rocked them all. There was a lost my train of thought. There was a lot of entries in the Battle Isle series, but a lot of them were on Amiga. Yeah, and the 32X, I think I talked about that when we live streamed for the Mister, but, you know, the way Sega handled that, they released a Saturn in Japan at the same time, and it was doomed to fail, you know, so. So yeah, this is basically 1 and 2 player now. The way this works is it's a turn-based strategy. Think Advanced Wars. You basically have units, and they can move. You have a move phase and attack phase. So you can move your units and then attack, and then you get a little cutscene when they attack, and you get them attacking against each other. So, clearly the game works fine. I don't know if Floppy 3 works. We're going to call this game a success. Move on to the next one. So, Battle Isle is still pretty fun, and there's so many variants of this, so. Vikings Lord of Conquest. Do I have... No, I have Vikings, the Strategy of Ultimate Conquest. I do have that for Windows and DOS. Sitting in the big box here, still sealed, so... yeah. Dread, yeah, this stuff, like, there's some stuff like that that's really cool. Now, here's one that I remember playing, or my neighbor playing, and was super impressed by it, and I'm curious to see if it works. This is Barbarian. This is the one we talked about earlier. We'll see if this one works. It is a arena fighter hack and slash with really cool animation style. So, we will see if this loads. Apparently it does. That's a fine barbarian there. Look at that. He's so mad. Take that, chain. He couldn't really animate. I mean, this is pretty impressive for what it is, too. Okay, so... can actually play the game. Have to see this over and over. Problem is, I don't know which key starts the game. That does something. Ooh, look at this pixel art graphics here. It's great. Definitely not Conan. Not at all associated with Conan. Just a little barbarian-ish. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. you know, we can do a lot more stuff now, especially since a lot of the hardware has been just so picked apart, and then no one makes it tick, and that's what kind of brings the Mister, right? Is that they can get on the hardware layer and know how it works and just reproduce it, and like that was probably not available. So press any key to begin the quest. Okay, this is not the barbarian I thought it was. I was thinking of the other one, but which was the other one? There's the barbarian. I thought it was called barbarian too, the fighter. This is very much playing like it uses the exact same engine as that space shooter game. Oh yeah, this is exactly the same type. I've said it before, and I'm nothing against the game. I mean, they did a really good effort and everything, but imagine like you're buying the game and you came home with this and that was the game you had, and then you just died on a brick there, and it's just... Gonna fall again. Ugh. Yeah, the animations are really impressive. Can I double time it there? Nope. You completed 2% of Barbarian. So I could have sworn there was a versus fighter game where you have called Barbarian or whatever. Well, I mean, as good or bad that game was, it does work, so we'll call it good there. Let's see. That's right, Dragon's Lair. We're gonna try that one now. This is on six floppies. This is one of the bigger games, mostly because the animation is so extensive because of Dragon's Lair. Touche. I think it's launching. I'm not sure if it's still loading here now. Again, the disk light read is on, so we'll see. This goes heavy into the animation, of course. I mean, it's Dawn Blues Dragon's Lair. They pretty much... yeah, that's the thing. I never enjoyed it. I think it was always... It looked great in magazines, right? Because you have very large, colorful images, and you have a lot of like animations, and it looked like a cartoon, right? Because that was the whole point. But on these systems where it requires so much loading, it takes away so much from the experience. It's not... I never enjoyed those games because it just, yeah. Titan IE was that long ago? I do love that movie. The animations are great. Dawn Blue certainly is an awesome animation / animation studio, no doubt. But Dragon's Lair is interesting. However, I'm not sure if it's stuck now or not. I'm guessing it is. It's not doing anything. We're gonna try one more time, but I don't know, Ted. You're gonna help me remember now too. I don't think the game loads this slow. Like it would get past this point now, because I mean, the disk light may be on. You can see here the green light's on, but it's not really doing anything. I never really played Space Ace either. I've seen plenty of videos about it, and I've read reviews and stuff like that, but I never actually played it now, which is the same animation studio, right, and all that stuff. So I'll give it a few more minutes. I can sort through some more floppies while I wait here. Let's see. Take a look at the stash here. 22. More crusty floppies here. It's fine. It's fine. Here's an original Amiga workbench. I do not believe this one works. I think I've tested this before, but this is the original Amiga. Yeah, it is 0 activity right now. I got a disk spinning. That's it. It's not doing anything. There's no like click, click, or doing anything. Handles are there. We'll do that one next then. Looking for games I don't really recognize, which is pretty fun for me too. Some of them do recognize, but I'll do one more reload and see if it loads. I'm not holding my breath on that one. This is online. It says it's online with an exclamation point. I don't know what that is, but so many games here. Sadly, no, like, you know, oh my goodness, that game, you know, there's a lot of cool games, but none of them are like, you know, wow, that one. Yeah, I'm not feeling this one. I don't think it's gonna load. So many here. All right. My hands are getting really dirty from this. All right, I think we'll call the problem is, of course, then if disc 1 is bad, then the game is pretty much shot because you can't, I mean, you can't bypass it, right? There's nothing to do. So I think right now, at least, I might clean it and try it later, but for now, I'm going to call pretty much the whole Dragon's Lair bundle here bad, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I wasn't super excited to play the game or anything, but we're going to call that one bad. That increased our stack there because that was 6 floppies, so let's try, here's one that looks interesting too that I've heard about. I remember seeing, and this is Operation Wolf. I think it's a top-down shooter or maybe a first-person shooter. We'll try that one. Wow, a newer version of Exodus? That's amazing, because, yeah, it is pretty complete, isn't it? So it must be just adding a lot, because I'm in... Sweet. There's a lot of shareware and stuff like that to get now. Yeah!
Operation Wolf.
Whoa. Digitized sound and everything. This one I think was on like every platform ever, wasn't it? Whee! I'm still falling! I'm okay! Well, you better go to watch that stream then if you just went live. Thinking of Hot Shots too when he falls in the jungle there. I gotta watch that movie again. I laughed so much. Okay. I think this is just like a first person insert. Disc 2, so disc 1 is good. Good thing I have disc 2 here. We'll see if this is good too. And click mouse. You got the whole intro and everything loading up on floppy 1 or disc 1. You have to insert disc 2 to proceed. That one sounds way worse. If it does it again, I can switch to the other camera, but that was... We'll see. Yeah, that's the thing. You have that sound, right? The Amiga sound. The same way if you listen to Commodore 64 or play games there, they all have a similar sound to them. So, I don't know, it did load. Is this a mouse game? Good luck. Holy buckets. Guy's beyond Rambo. Don't shoot the pig. Ow. Well, no kidding. I'm just getting... Well, the game runs, but my goodness. I don't think I ever played it on NES. I don't think it brought... It was brought to Sweden, I think. I don't recognize this at all. So I remember seeing, like, boxes for it, I think, online later, but not... Well, the game runs, so... Insert. Now, if you had a second floppy drive, you wouldn't have to do this. You would just put in one floppy in the top drive and then just leave them both in. It would be able to do that. Many games would not support loading directly from the second drive, though, from scratch. So that's a challenge. And many of them were just expecting to read a second disc from there, or like a disc once the game is launched, but it wouldn't support launching from there. Some did, I think. Someone correct me there, but I think that many of them did not. So that did run. Let's try a sports game now. We have Sports Basketball by Cinemaware. It's Real 1. That may not work. We have to have disc 2 for that one. And we'll try it. Hey. Nope, that one's a goner. We're short finding some of these here now where they just don't work. And sports basketball, TV sports basketball. Yeah, a little bit. It is a little finicky. Now, this machine has had some problems with some groove meditation red screen errors. And I actually had to like unplug everything and just kind of replug and then restart and it was fine again. So no, there's no cross compatibility. There are expansion cards for the Amiga that will let you run some things like a PC expansion card and stuff like that. But it's not backwards compatible at all. Like, it's completely different. So I'm starting to find a lot of multi-disc ones here now, which makes it a little tricky. Here's a couple of single disc ones. Yeah. Actually, I do have the legendary games here, which will be Shadow of the Beast, which was legendary in the sense that it was just very advanced graphics for the time. Build your 3-year-old a computer. My daughter now, who's 5, just got into playing Mario a lot, which is great. We can play together now, so we're working through New Super Mario Brothers Deluxe on the Switch, so she's enjoying that a lot. Let's see, we have basically the original here, Shadow of the Beast. I think this is weird because it's disc 1, disc 2, disc 1, disc 2, so I'm not sure if it just happened up, but I had a copy from before. There's also one here that has like a handprint label, so we're going to try these. No Amiga was complete, but I had a whole bunch of software floppies sitting like this. I'm not sure, for those that had an Amiga, you pretty much always had a stack of floppies sitting here or somewhere around an Amiga, because it is completely flat up here. It's perfect for putting games on there, so I don't think you can fit them in the slots here, but... Alright, so let's try Shadow of the Beast, which was a big deal when it came out, so... it was, like, touted as, like, amazing graphics and for the Amiga. It's a side-scrolling game. Shadow of the Beast was basically, they went all in on trying to make a visual and audio presentation. If this game does get into it, from what little I played of it, it's not a very deep game. You run and you punch, and that's it. But it was touted because the graphics are really good for what it is. It's still not a deep game. Not that many had to do, but yeah, exactly. Out of This World, I don't have them, or Another World, depending on your region, right? Was the cinematic tour de force in Amiga. Unfortunately, I do not have that one. I've looked through that one. I've not seen them there, but anyone who's played any of that knows that it's phenomenal. You know, that and Flashback. Out of This World just did blow me away seeing it. Or Another World in Europe, right? Out of This World in the US. Anyway, Another World blew me away because my friend came over. Was like, I got this new game on the Amiga, and it's like, here's a scientist and driving a Ferrari, and like there's a lightning, and I'm like, yeah, whatever you're talking about. And he just kept rambling on about it, and I saw it, and it's like, this is amazing. Super hard, but amazing. And I don't know why this particular image has such weird, it's using an odd resolution here, which is why you're seeing it scrunched and weird, and it's the capture doing it, so ignore the screen. This should look better than it does. I don't know why it looks like this, but here we are. I think it's using an Amiga high-res mode here or something. And it just does not... The capture doesn't like it, so... Yeah, it was coming across like 320 by 250, something weird like that, so I don't know. But yeah, that intro was unbeatable, so... Alright, let's see if Disc 2 works. Disc 1 so far, so good. You may fire when ready. That one grinds a little more, but... Interesting. That makes sense, yeah. There's definitely some similarities there to a lot of those Amiga games that had that kind of stuff, so... It worked. This went all in on the audio-visual presentation, which, you know, you look at it now, it's like, yeah, whatever, but... This was quite the graphical tour de force for the Amiga, at least from a 2D perspective. Like, really lush sprites, parallax scrolling up the wazoo, which the Amiga could do, but not... You wouldn't see that normally this much. Psygnosis presents. There's the story. Hi, Zoe. Are you back? Yep, Zoe's back. Wait, leave the microphone. Yeah. That's not a good way to start your game. You walk for like 10 seconds and then have to load again. You discover a rusting iron ladder. Ooh. So yeah, it's like you run the limitation. Anytime you put high quality or high-res art on here, right? The disk read speed is so slow that your loading is going to increase exponentially. Yeah, that's probably Psygnosis and everything. Okay, can I get off the ladder now? Nope, not yet. Ooh, loincloth, though. And let's climb up. And load some more. Load some more. The game works, though. That's a pretty big win. A Psygnosis stream? Oh, my. Perhaps a key would have helped. Well, thanks. Just taunting me now. Go through the Psygnosis library of different games, from like the platformers all the way up to your Wipeout and that stuff. Yeah, it could be good to do a publisher stream to hop games. Like I'm thinking Westwood, like you could do Command and Conquer and your what the hell? I know this was supposed to be like, you know, oh my goodness, wow, it's amazing, and I mean it's cool, but This is what you do in this game. And there's a blip for some reason. Because at the end of the day, it's a side-scrolling platformer with very good graphics. It's showed very well in magazines, but anytime I play it, it's just like, this is what you do. But again, the audiovisual part of it is really good. And creative, too. I mean, the design of these monsters is terrifying. And these things. I'm gonna run until I run out of health there. Health is top left corner. Pretty slow on the response there, but I didn't need to turn around there. Why is there a blimp? The turtle's following me? Eyeballs. Why not? I think there was a pretty recent remake of this that fell flat. I think I made it. Yeah, it did scroll. It does scroll very smooth and everything. I think that was the big selling point of it. It's just like, you know, there wasn't much else that scrolled this smooth and looked... DED. Oh well. Cool game, brah. Very much, yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong there. It's basically, yeah, it was like this is supposed to be the game for graphical, but it's just like there isn't much to it, you know. But it works, so we'll put that in the yes pile. And I have two versions of it here. I'm assuming I had it from two batches, so put that in there. What are we gonna try next? Let's see. We had a flight sim again here. Harrier Combat Simulator from 1986, so an early flight sim. Hi, Zoe. We'll try that too. Yeah, it's a game that, I mean, I remember it was a big hoopla, and I remember every magazine was showing Shadow of the Beast, and it had kind of that Rise of the Robots thing going forward, where like the graphics and it was hyped and whatever. And I mean, I think it's still celebrated as a good game on the Amiga, but what you see is what you get there. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Just don't watch this read. Flight sims were a big deal on the Amiga. I mean, it was like, I don't know if it's a European thing or something, but there were so many flight sims on this system, and not all of them ran great, but I mean, this boot's fine. So sorry, that microphone should have capped that if that was too loud there. Ew. Harrier Combat Simulator. Mirrorsoft on Microsoft. I mean, that's the thing, too, is like, I think, too, now, we're a little spoiled with retro revival games, stuff like that, but there's so many, I wonder, let's be, stand by, let's check with something. Oh, that's fine. Like, you know, we have so many... Oh, we can just do demo. Oh, look, my cursor is a little Harrier. How cool is that? I like the demo. That's cool. You can just... I like that you can do that. Oh! It's over. I have the high ground. Ha ha ha. It's weird. I think it's using some high-res mode or something here that's causing the flickering there. So we're just testing it real quick. Like I kind of spoiled on Retro Revival now. There's so many cool games now that use kind of retro style and everything. You forget a little bit the limitations of the hardware. And something I think is also very cool is that when people re-release games for old consoles, like Always Awakening as a 2D Metroidvania, pixel art style, whatever, runs on PC, but they made an NES cartridge for it. Stuff like that's really cool. So, and I remember this, like my friend was playing A10 Tank Killer in a few of those games, and this was a perfect acceptable frame rate on a flight sim for the Amiga. He played games like this all the time. I should probably grab one of the original games I have. Let's see. So I have a couple of original box games, and this is Pinball Fantasies, which everyone who's familiar with pinball games from the era probably knows about this one. So the question is if this works. This is not part of this bundle. I got this somewhere else, but this is the actual box version of Pinball Fantasies. And pinball games are... Here we go. There's actually... Here's the receipt from a local town here. $40. What's the date? 1/19/1993. That's awesome. Bill of sales here. That's sweet. That's original. I love when you find stuff like that in game boxes. This is from the Simulator series, so Flight Sim works. The game works. We'll call it good there. We'll try Pinball Fantasies quick. Because that's such an iconic game. So that works. Alright. We'll go back to the main menu. And let's say Pinball Fantasies, Amiga NTSC table disk. There's a program disk and then a table. So now, if this works, now we're really in for a treat here. That's right, the pizza thing. I think that that's what LGR did, right? He used the pizza coupon for that years ago. The Pinball Fantasy and Pinball Dreams and those games are amazing pinball games for the Amiga. The music is just... So we'll see if these works. These are very clean. They feel nice. They've been in a box the entire time. Now, the box has seen better days. It needs to be fixed up. It's very squished, so... it works. Oh, this music is glorious. Dice is from Gothenburg, Sweden, and wow, this is using a high res. It's not liking that at all. We'll see if this comes across here now. Okay, loaded there. Please insert a course disk in any drive. Cable disk 2, I think. I'll listen to that music a little bit. That's great. These games have great music, audio, visual design, but DICE was then Digital Illusions and founded in Sweden, and they got their start pretty small, and then the pinball games just exploded in popularity, and it took off from there. And that's what the DICE today, as you know it, so. Which now has more publisher role, I guess, but. This is like peak Amiga, peak Amiga stuff, peak Amiga music. More orchestra hits. We can't handle any more. I'll tell you when to stop. Keep adding them. And this song was on for some time, too. There's been many remixes of this, but alright, we'll do... These were always a big deal. I remember everyone had some pinball games here of some variety, so... So amazing. I need to look into people are making new music with Amiga. It's such a fantastic sound. We did Turrican earlier, of course, with Chris Holzbeck's amazing music, but this is... And this is, you know, the basic Amiga. This is what came out in 1985 or 1986 or whatever, and this is the stock one. There's no special things here, and they can produce this kind of music right off the bat. That's what set it apart. $1 billion game show. We'll try that table. Looks weird. Please insert course disc 3. I don't think I have course disc 3. I have table disc 1 and I have table disc 2. And then our pinball fantasy was shattered. I didn't realize it was 3 discs. Well, this works anyway. that was a nice little detour there. Oh well. The game works. Too bad we don't have that. A couple of the other ones I have. Alright, Soldier, thanks for stopping by. Is Ball, again from Signosis, with a very, very creepy box art again. But it looks like one of those side-scrolling games again. Very, like, again, biomechanical, weird, like, Geiger-esque style. Weird. I'm going to play that. We also have Future Dreams, which is like a bundle of games. It contains Purple Saturday, Spidertronic, Genius, and Warlock's Quest. So this is like a compilation box or whatever, which has all the different games in here. So I do have a few of the box Amiga games. I actually came to a local game store a while back. This is quite a while back now. And I used to stop out there and look at games and see what they had, usually NES or something like that. And then they had just a whole stack of Amiga games for like $2 a piece. I bought pretty much all of them. I can't really see the rest here right now, but that was pretty cool to be able to grab a few of those, because Amiga games you don't see in the wild really any. So, all right, good luck with the move. Okay, we're gonna play this one because I think this one works, and this is a really cool music thing as well. I'll keep saying that. This is Nitro, which is a top-down racer. So we'll load that up here. It was working earlier. There. Took a while to load, but this one's got really good music too, although there's only a few music tracks on it, but... Ooh. Meow. Rad. And this picture has nothing to do with the game. I also remember that too, and I was a kid seeing my friend play this, and it's like, I don't know where this Mad Max thing came from, except they thought it was cool looking, which again, it's cool looking and, you know, with the art and everything, but I just don't know where it came from. It just looks cool. I mean, that's, to the car's just top down, so... Oh, I thought it was supposed to be music here, but... Gotta do it. I don't like these techno, like, I don't even know. Was it Death Race? 2000? Like, it's Clint Eastwood, and the other ones are weird, similar ones. Prepare to race. Name ass. There we go. Meh. There's only a few audio tracks in this, or a few songs, or tracks, whatever you want to call it, in this game, but they all sound pretty good. Yeah, it's like techno zombie Clint Eastwood, and there's another one for Stallone, I think, and this game is hilariously unforgiving. You better be getting it right, and there we go, now I'm out of the race, basically. My car is damaged too. I have to pick up gas and... Yeah, see, I haven't caught up a single time here with them since that. That's pretty much the game, but it's like a top-down, like, Micro Machine-esque with, and then you, collect upgrades, things like that, and you can buy parts, I think, but... Let's see. Part shop, there we go. How much cash do I have? High speed. Price 4, probably in high speed, usually what you want. Oh yeah, high speed. Prepare to race. There's a lot of these kind of like bite-sized games for Amiga. Best way to describe it is on one floppy, you know, it's not super deep, but I think a lot of these came from... The Amiga was pretty easy to develop for, as I understand, so there's a lot of just random attempts or random games that came out for it. Whee! Whoa! That didn't work out so well. It's like it's early days for the Amiga and all early days for these kind of games, so it is definitely rough around the edges, and you can tell all the ideas are there. It's just... That's pretty much it. You've seen what this game has to offer, get more upgrades, and maybe you'll actually not lose every race eventually. I don't know, but... Whoa! I find this game very, very challenging, but there's a lot of top-down racers like this on the platform. Meow. Yeah, music is really good, but it's the same one over and over, so... Alright, cool. I have no idea what... Curious what this is. Swords of Twilight. Now, it says program disc. I'm not sure if there's another disc as well. We will see, but Nitro clearly works fine. Maybe we'll just... The cool thing, you can just... Boop! Kill the game like that. So we'll put that in the clearly working pile. So the working pile is increasing. So, Swords of Twilight by Freefall Associates, published by Electronic Arts in 1989. Quick Kickstart 1.2 or 1.3. Maybe you got 500, 1,000, or 2,000. No, I don't think you would either, but it's just like some of those games that are just so brutally hard. And I mean, yeah, you especially if you got it, or, you know, I think what happened a lot was that, you know, we would get a stack of these games at the same time. So yeah. Yeah, it's especially if it's a game you just got now, we have access to every game known to man, basically, because emulation of whatever, you lose interest quickly versus, yeah, when you got a game, that was it. You played the game, so... in the case of, for Amiga, for me, every game I played was ones that he had gotten from some copy party, so... You can hear the, very distinct sound. was a valiant effort there, but Swords of Twilight is a no-go, I'm pretty sure. That sounded pretty bad there. I have no idea what kind of game it is, but we're not playing it now, so... And yeah, that's the thing, is you got the game, and then that was... I mean, I didn't have the Amiga again, it was my neighbor who had it, but any game you got, that was it. And I was very lucky, I mentioned it before, that my parents ran a place that had game rentals. So for NES and Super Nintendo, I had virtually... I could rent any game I wanted. That wasn't brand new. Usually I couldn't bring home the games that were brand new, because they wanted to rent those out. I have Space Cutter. I have no idea what that is. By Rainbird or Maelstrom Games. 1988. Buy that instead. We're making more progress on the floppies here now, although look back at the stash here. It is substantial. Yep, we have another one that I think is a goner too. Now we're getting more into the ones that don't work. And I mean, you're right, it's like ADF files. You basically could write that, a new one. And you can do that too now today. You can basically take a ADF file and write it to a floppy. There's ways to do that. You can either use a GoTech. You can also use, which I tried for a while, is use a parallel connection and actually write through parallel or serial maybe into the Amiga. So the Amiga is set through a command to answer the data coming through, and you send it through a serial transfer program. And basically you're transferring the game directly to the floppy that way. So that is possible. So I don't know what this is, but I seem to recognize this. This game is called Overlord. And I have 2 floppies here. I think there might be a third one. I didn't see it, but we'll see. Starting to find more of the ones that match together here now. We will not get through most of these, to say the least, but I'm making a little stash here of ones that we can try. Not that one. Yeah, GoTech really is the way. If you want to use it on a real Amiga anymore, then it's going to be a better way to do it. Okay, got a few here lined up, so we'll try Overlord, whatever that is. It's funny because many of these games I don't know, and it feels like back then, again, getting that shopping bag of games, and you just start going through them not knowing what the game was about or what it was like. So I'm not feeling this one. We'll see. Still going. Switch back to regular mic there, but I don't know. It's when you get that same pattern over and over and over and never making progress. I don't know if it's loading now, because it feels like it's really hopping around like crazy. And it's funny, I haven't used GoTech for PC at all, really, because I network everything, so that's kind of where I go. And there's, of course, a huge benefit of having a GoTech. On newer machines, I tend to network everything instead, so... SolarWinds, I don't recognize that. I'm just familiar with the SolarWinds, like, monitoring software in the modern world, if you will. I don't know. I'm not a programmer as far as like what it did. Okay, eating Adam. Windows cleaner, huh? Well, that might work. I'm using isopropyl alcohol here for the ones I've tried a few times, but I'm not feeling this one. It sure is just seeking a lot without making any progress. You think that would have died by now? It's very much spun around the whole disk several times over now. And it's got a repeating pattern, so I have a feeling this is not gonna do anything. That's the whole point too, is like with any of these, like back in the day, you would have made copies and all of them. I have way less like blank ones like these than I have the actual originals, so I wouldn't be able to do that. But if there's a game you would play, say I'm going to play like this one game, and you wanted to preserve your copies then, I mean, in general, you would just make a copy and then call it good, right? You leave it at that. So, and then play on the copy. Because a lot of those the X-copy software is a one-for-one copy, and you know, there was no like, you know, anti piracy headers or anything back then. You could do a full copy of the floppy, and that was made the Amiga pretty rampant when it came to piracy because there was no restriction on it. So I think we're gonna call this one a dud. I'm gonna put the so it just spun like crazy. It never got anywhere. Put that one away for now. So again, we could spend a long time troubleshooting each disk and like testing it out, and do all that kind of stuff, but it's just not going to be worth it right now. We have too many games to check. So we have here Sega's Shinobi for Amiga. Oh, really? Huh. They had fake tracks. Yeah, there was some stuff later on, right? I didn't think at least in the beginning, but I thought it was just you could do a direct copy or whatever. I remember reading or watching the video on the MVG did on some of the copy protection stuff, and it was pretty clever tricks they used. I didn't realize they did that already on the Amiga that early. This cool thing with this is that it's got that Sega like grid pattern behind there. It's really hard to see. You can see a little bit there on the camera. There you see it shining a little bit. It's got that grid pattern that you saw on the Master System games, so that's really cool. All right, let's see if this loads. Nope. Yeah, this one's very dead. I don't know if it's coffee. It sure looks like it. Who knows? That's too bad. Shinobi doesn't work, but I'm not surprised. It's probably one of the older ones. 89, I guess. So, yeah, that's true. You had all these kind of weird stuff with the special copy protection, I suppose. Yeah, that would have messed up stuff. So, all right, Shinobi. The stack of... because of the Dragon's Lair not launching, the stack of games that aren't working is growing rapidly here now. Let's try a RPG real quick. We have Eye of the Beholder, which is one of the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons games. There are many of these that came out, the more dungeon crawler. So I think there's only 2 discs here. There might be more, but I think that's all we'll get to. So we'll try that. I found disc 3. I don't know if it's doing anything. We'll give it a second here. Sports basketball. We already did that one. There's 2. It's quite a few of these Advanced Dungeons and Dragons ones, actually. Remember this one? I'll have to check that one out. Not looking... Let's see you go. Alright, thanks for stopping by, Revenant. See you next time. Trying to collect all those, like, gold ones. There's quite a few of them. I picked a few single ones that are, might be more likely to work. I don't know. So many games. Check out that one. Oh, let's see. Blank disk or hard disk required. Okay, we have to install that. Never mind. Okay, that's a bummer. The Eye of the Beholder wasn't working. We can try and load it one more time, but yep, and I'm in the Central Time in the US here, so it's 11:30 at night, so kind of all over the place. That loaded quite a ways, but did not make it all the way through. They're gonna just go into the black again. I think it will. Well, that's a bummer. Like, you never really know when it comes to the multiple ones. Okay, well. Got a stack here now. Actually, I found one here I'm a little curious on. Here's Space Harrier for the Amiga, another Sega game. And this label has seen better days, my goodness. It looks very rough, so... we're from the future. Alright, well, Eye of the Beholder, sadly, that's three floppies right there. Our not working stash is growing fast, and it is now approaching the size of the working stash. Again, mostly because of that Dragon's Lair not working. Let's try Space Harrier. That's curious. Let's get that squeal. From Spock. Huh, I loaded it right up, I guess. There's another Sega port, of course, to Amiga. Some of these were fine, some were not. So I'm curious to see how this one is. Spacebar from menu. We need music. We'll just... Welcome to the Fantasy Zone. Good luck. That was a lot of running with not much forward momentum. Oh yeah. Classic Sega tunes going on here with the Amiga. Whoa. That's slowing down a lot. Oh no! He smacked right into it. Get back up. No, no! I'm terrible at this. I don't know what force yard is. Makes sense, this is a mouse game. Oh no! Whoop! Get back up. No, no, I am horrible at this. This, wow, hard too. There's a discernible slowdown there in a game over. Great game. Great game. Good hustle. There's a discernible slowdown there in the game as the stuff was happening there. But we'll put that one in the good pile. Let's see, which one was I going to try here? There we go. We have Wayne Gretzky Hockey. Which also looks pretty gunky here. I'm going to clean that one off. I don't know what happened to this one. Yeah, it probably does. I think a lot of people had the RAM expansion. I think it was probably to the point that it was near mandatory, and a lot of people did. I don't think, at least no one I knew ran a stock Amiga 500. They always had RAM expansion, so don't know what this liquid is, and I'm not going to ask questions. I'm just going to clean it here. If it comes off, maybe. That might just be corrosion, actually. Disc itself looks alright, so we have Wayne Gretzky Hockey here. We're going to try that by Bethesda Softworks. Using the actual logo here, I'm not sure that will come across here. You can see it there. The actual logo that they used for their PC games later and everything too, or at the same time. That's not a good sound. That just loaded. Okay, fair enough. That's yeah. One of those foghorns they always use in like Scooby-Doo and stuff. 3D wireframe, next gen graphics. Oh, Bethesda always tried to be a little, you know, forefront there. I don't know what's up with the, sometimes we get like really bad interference in the picture, but whatever. Well, they really worked on that intro there. See, the game loads past the intro. Oh, yeah, there you go. That's not a bad idea. But yeah, it's kind of a crapshoot which ones would work here, so. Too soon. Sign in. Every person you run into is a real player. Look at that. The graphics like this is charming as hell. Look at that. No, my tube. I'm watching it on flat panel, but you know. Nice. Oh, there's that nice boy. The loading. Well, the game loaded, so... Can I play some hockey? The loading. They spent a lot of their loading budget on that logo, didn't they? Come on. It is still loading. I do hear the drive, and there's also the drive light. It's actually lit, so... Yeah, it's 1988. When was he fully active? I mean, it's this era, right? Mid-late 80s. Early 90s. Yeah, he must be pretty young here. Okay. Mouse. Joystick. There we go. Printer? You can print? Print your scores, man. Is Sucre still awake? Getting late there. Getting early for our European friends, but very late for Sucre. Oh, wow. That's straight top down. I don't know who I am. I'm the dude with the white helmet, I think. And that he scored. Face off. First period, what? Timeout? No, return to action. I like the little patterns that they make there. Whoops. I guess I literally just... I skated up and just pushed the button and that was hooking. I could have known. Ooh, what game are the rest watching? Okay, well, Wayne Gretzky Hockey Works. Put that in the works pile. It's a lovely all-black floppy here, the black logo and everything. Bethesda. Cool. Have something that caught my eye. This is disc 1, unfortunately. I don't know that I saw disc 2. Let me look real quick for that. Okay. I thought I had... We're going to load disc 1 and see if it takes it. But this is Keith the Thief by Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog Incorporated, Amiga version by Alexander Hinds. From 1989 Naughty Dog, which of course went on to create many, many games we all know and know. There we go. Loaded. All right. Yeah, that's what I thought. Wonder if I can find that. I didn't see it. Oh, I think I saw it. Aha! Disc 2. Making progress now. Keith, Disc 2. I do not. I'm not sure if there's any made. I haven't seen any... I think it's a dude, but I haven't seen any Turtles games in the stash, unfortunately. I think that there was... Some Turtles games were ported. I do the Turtles, like, Manhattan missions on IBM, and I think that was probably on Amiga as well, but... Whoa! Oh. Cool music, but you need the manual for the copy protection, which of course I do not have. Look it up. Oh well. Cool music. I don't know if this is a hack and slash or whatever, but it's Naughty Dog. The game does work. I just don't want to look up the copy protection now. We'll put it in the pile of working then. And we're making progress on the working pile. So let's see. Here's a LucasArts game. I'm a sucker for Amiga games in general, so there's a LucasArts game, Night Shift. Oh my goodness, no, we're not going to play that. This has what looks like, you call it candle wax on the back. I'll have to clean that one. We're not going to play that, because I don't want to put that in the drive. Instead, we have Battletech, the Crescent Hawk Inception, which is one of the first Battletech games. Any random game. From Infocom. We'll do Battletech instead. I'll switch to the ASMR cam here. Infocom and Westwood. Yeah, it loaded. Cool. Westwood Associates. Ah, Westwood. Well, they were part of this development. The Battletech games have been around for a long time. Well, that's technically. Computer program, 88 by Infocom. Computer program by Westwood Associates. I think you run around here to your headquarters and do stuff, right? So, oh, the game loads. Cool. In case you're wondering where I'm going, there's a little log there. And go in the building here. Inspect character. Unskilled everything. Sweet. Load, load, load. I'm sure there's a deep thing here. This is Battletech and all that stuff, right? But I have no idea what's going on here. But the game ran. Sweet. It's tiny, though. I assume later on you have control of mechs and like strategic. Like there's so many of those games from the mech series and everything, Battletech, that has a strategic element to it. So, all right, well, I'll put that in the works pile. One thing I wanted to show quick is, so this is a copied game here, Three Stooges. I don't know if this is a copied of original, or if it's a completely copied one. So we're just going to launch it and then see what it looks like. What you have here is a Cracktro. This is basically what you may die in lava. In fact, it's most likely. So here's a Cracktro. This will be stuff that people, when they broke the crack or the cop protection on these and made the copies, which is why I wanted to show, like, for those not aware of the Amiga. At this point, I think most of our European friends are here now, so they were more than aware of that. But a lot of the games were cracked that way, and they put a little intro there with information about the crackers and everything. So just wanted to show that real quick for those that weren't aware. But a lot of the games that I was aware of when I played them when I was younger, they looked like that. They had a Cracktro intro, all of them, basically, because they all were hacked. We've been playing almost exclusively original games and original floppies here tonight, which it's something to remember that, especially during that era, there was quite a bit of copying going on. Game preservation, as it were. So we'll try this real quick. I just want to show it real quick, but well, that's not Three Stooges. Someone wrote this. Oh, never mind. It is, I guess. Freaking Cinemaware psyching me out.
Hey, this looks like a kid's game. You idiots!
Pretty clever. They got me. I thought it was Defender of the Crown, which is arguably be maybe a better game, but what made them like, let's make a Three Stooges game for the Amiga in like 1988 or something. Loading, loading, loading. Cinemaware tried really hard to make the games cinematic and have a movie feel to them. One that we do have here, which would be cool to try. It came from the desert. I'm not sure if I found all the floppies for it yet here while this plays. Yeah. May try that. This is really cinematic and really well made. Probably, to me, one of the most like complete like experiences on Amiga. Tons of stuff to do in that game. And now I feel like the true Amiga experience because there's floppy sitting around everywhere here now. It's just the way it was. And we have like, you know, Wings. I have War in Middle Earth, Rogers, Matrix Marauders, Quadralian, Starflight 2, Spellbound, Rotox, Star Control, The Killing Game Show. Graphics are... yeah. Oh, it's a story now. I'm not sure. And a lot of the games were, you know, co-made for that. You know, you had your, you know, Mortal Kombat and all that stuff came from Amiga as well. I'm not sure which one that had, like, the highest budget like that made by a big studio or anything. It's a hard question. I know it feels like Cinemaware titles were pretty high budget in their production, so I'm not sure if that translated to high cost or not, but... I just hear the loading now. There's a lot of loading on this one. Which I was at a footnote more than anything. I just wanted to show the crack draw. Now we're trying to play 3 Stooges. I haven't gotten into the game yet. There we go. So much loading. Man, the graphics are quite impressive. But so much loading. There we go, no background. I go faster now. I assume you do jobs or whatever to make money, so that's enough of that. My goodness, we can be here all day. There's nothing here. So that does work. Let's see if It Came from the Desert does work, because that one is a really cool game. I believe I have it actually in a bundle, so... how I'm capturing what you're watching, is that what you're asking? Like as far as like the video capture? Something with the aspect ratio is definitely off. It feels like it's something I have squished, so I feel that should be more square, but it is not. Oh well. All right, well, there we are. So seemed like it. So what I'm doing here is that I have so this is the Amiga. I'm using the RGB output on the Amiga itself. And I realize now that I think that it's squashed or something. I'll have to look at that later, but that's the way we played tonight. I've been fine. And I'm using basically an RGB to VGA adapter. It's a passive adapter, doesn't do anything. And I have then VGA going into a splitter. The VGA splitter goes directly to another splitter, or not splitter, but a selector box that goes into my data path. So data path capture card is what I was doing it. Data path can handle all the RGB signals, all the 15 kilohertz, 30 kilohertz, 240p, all that good stuff, and it's related, Swiss Army knife for capturing. So it lets me really grab all this stuff. I think the data path counts as a frame grabber, but it was used for video production and stuff like that, and those really have been... I capture everything with that. You can get pixel perfect capture. Now, the Amiga is a little more finicky with that. You do have to mess with quite a bit of the software to get that to work the way you want to. Once you dial it in, it can get really good. And especially on DOS PCs or, Windows capture, stuff like that, you can get it really close. But above all, with Amiga here now, it's just RGB to VGA adapter, passive adapter, and that goes then to data path capture card for that purpose. And I'm playing on a flat panel that handles the Amiga refresh rate and all that. I was going to play on a PVM, but the cable I have broke the other day, so I'm waiting for a new one to arrive. So, all right, let's go to It Came from Desert, which maybe have to finish up very soon, I think. Wow, that's kind of what I figured. There was something wrong with this one. The floppies look a little worn, so I'm not surprised. It's a really cool game. I do think I have it on a Cinemaware collection box, which does include the game separately. So, which we could do, but I just want to see if these work or not. It's kind of the primary purpose, not play the games too much. Which it came from the desert. It's a really neat experience because you are in like this 50s town, and strange things are happening. So you have to like, drive around and question people. And stuff like that. It's a really neat game. Let's see. Let's try one that also Cinemaware made, which is Wings. That's also a kind of a legendary game for this system, so... Of course, I don't have the 512 kilobyte expansion, so that makes sense. This is a pretty high graphic intensive game. Very pretty for the Amiga. It's basically you play as a World War I fighter pilot with missions to do that, and the graphics are really impressive for that one, and I believe that. So I do have the memory expansion module in here, but I think it's busted. It did have a busted clock battery that I took out of there. I'm not sure if it even runs without it, but I had the barrel of death of that. So we'll try maybe one or two more games, and that might be it. So let's try some random ones I've never heard of. Matrix Marauders from Psygnosis. A lot of Psygnosis games. They were a big developer for the Amiga, for sure. Made tons of games for it. Let's do... Good luck with the Psygnosis games tonight. They've generally loaded up, it seems like. Maybe they use pretty high quality floppies, I'm not sure. Matrix Marauders. Let's take cool random names and jam them together for a game name. Random words. Look at those graphics. Yeah, so I have realized that I think that the aspect ratio is a little off of the capture, and I'll have to mess with that. I didn't catch that until much later, but it's been fine, of course. But on the VGA panel I'm playing it on now, which is like an NEC multisync that handles the Amiga refresh rates and kilohertz and all that good stuff. Ooh. Cool music. Lasers. It's more square, so... Yeah, that's right. The owl you fly around and shoot. It's like a side-scrolling shooter, right? Nice animations. Can I play it? Cool. So right now, as it stands, because of the calling the Dragon's Lair unplayable, so right now we have... This is a stack of confirmed games that we played tonight, with whatever multi-disc ones that I've successfully ran. And this is the stack of ones that are confirmed bad. So, right now, we have a net positive, so... restart game, save game. Whoa. Floppy just... I haven't had a single space shooter, so I guess this is a good one to finish up on here. There's a lot of really cool games on this platform, and I think it's fun sometimes for kind of lazy evening or afternoon or, night or whatever time you fancy. to fire up like an emulator or like the Mister or something like that, and just kind of go through the library, because there's a lot of cool stuff you can find if you're just willing to dig a little bit. And it's fun to go through the, you know, top 150 games and all that stuff, and those are great recommendation guides. But sometimes when you just want to explore, I do that with consoles I never had, for example, like the Genesis, or Sega 32, or Sega CD, or PlayStation 1 as well. It's fun for me to just kind of just spin the wheel and see what game you play. I'm not feeling confident the game is actually going to load now, though. We got past the menu, but it's making a lot of noise, but not getting anywhere. And the biggest warning sign is that it's a repeat pattern of the noise. It's the same noise over and over, and that's not a good sign. It's shaking the Amiga, it is so loud. We'll try a reload on this one, just in case, but I'm not feeling hopeful. It's a shame, we haven't really had any shooters, really. I have Starflight 2, Disc B, so I need the second one for that. A lot of games. Yeah, exactly. WinUAE is great, and it's an excellent option just for hopping in and playing some games. There's so many options, especially with the Amiga being quote-unquote pretty easy to emulate at this point. I mean, you can run it on a potato, basically, which again, you could take a Pi and make it a direct bare metal one. And people are doing that with the Pi 400 or whatever, the wedge keyboard thing, which then, you know, mimics the idea of the original Amiga pretty well, because it's a wedge computer and it's all in one and all that stuff. And I've seen Dan Wood, I think, on YouTube have covered that at great length when that came out. I'm basically running it as a one-to-one Amiga in emulation. So I think because it is a pretty ordnance. Can I go to one of the other pages here? None gonna load? None? Maybe? Alright. Ooh, good music too. I think it's required. Any space shooter, you pretty much need to have good music. Got that 90s boogie going on. Wow, that's actually 3D there. Let's, oh man. That's great. There's so much good music on this platform. And yeah, I'm not sure what the flickering is now, too. There's only certain scenes that get that. So it's, the Amiga is not, the Amiga is not an easy one to capture and mess with like that. There's plenty of options for using scan doublers, things like that. And the scan doubler basically doubles the refresh rate, or from the horizontal one from 15 kilohertz to 31 kilohertz that a piece of CRT can do. I'm gonna go check repairs. Okay, that's the same one here. So let's try and enable serial link. You can link machines together too. Let's see if we can get into the game itself. It's in that same cycle again. We'll give it a second here, but I'm not feeling hopeful. After that, we'll try one last game, I think. I don't know what this is, but Quadralian? So many of these little bite-sized games. Well, actually, the label on that is not very good. We haven't tried any space shooter, so music is really good on that one. Oh, it's too bad. I'm not feeling hopeful this will load either. Now the failure rate is increasing, slowly but surely. That's just the name of the game with these. Yeah. No, not feeling it. Oh well. Matrix Marauders. It was a valiant effort. And I'd like to get to one more working game, and then we'll call it. So that's unfortunate because the music there is really, really cool. So I might clean that. I might give some of these another try. I would give them a good, proper clean and see if that helps. So let's try Spellbound by Psygnosis again. That sounds a lot better. Psygnosis presents Spellbound. Cool graphics. Yeah, I think what's throwing off some of the aspect ratios and some of the flickering is just it uses a really weird resolution sometimes, I think. Off ones. And I've set it so that it resets it to 240p. I'm not sure that's always accurate. It's hard to know, because I mean, back in the day, played on CRT, it didn't really matter, it just adapted to whatever it was. This is not the music I was expecting for this one. Like a rock. Cool. I was not expecting that kind of music for this kind of game. It looked more like a, you know, fantasy style one, not just rock. The game load. Oh, I think I remember this. Like a puzzle platformer. Whee! It looks neat. I don't want to do that. Throwing some rocks. Cool. The intro music betrayed this, or the intro music was writing checks this game cannot cash. Again, cool, but, you know, not quite what I was suspecting there. I need to pick that up. Cool. Yeah, Scorpion's shooting. Yeah, he's kind of... Whee! I came right back. Don't know how to open these here. Cool. Sweet one to end it on. It's a game, but it works, so we'll put it on the works pile. So we had pretty good success. I mean, there was a lot of ones that didn't work, and one that I've pretty sure doesn't work here, I think I've tested it before, is Frontier Elite 2, which is an amazing game for the Amiga. Huge space flight simulator game for anyone who's played in Elite games, but it's fun to explore the platform. There's so many cool games on this one, even if my floppies don't work. Yeah, basically. And I don't know, it's something that's, I'm like intrigued or keep this machine stock. I don't know. It would be nice to have an accelerator, because then you can like, can you get the Amiga to the point where you remember it, right? But then you can just do it on the Mister. So it's, I don't know. It's putting so much money and effort into it, and I'm tempted to just keep it like it is. Maybe get the memory module, so at least it's realistic for what it was. But I kind of just want to keep it intact in the sense that I want it to be the original Amiga experience. If I want the faster one, I can do it on a Mister. I mess around with emulation and stuff like that. So, because the whole has no limit when it comes to what you can do with the Amiga. You can just add accelerators and extra stuff and scan doublers and replace everything in it to the point where it's almost not an Amiga anymore. So, which is true for many consoles as well. But the Amiga has gotten a lot of attention in the last 5 to 10 years, I think, on you know, all kinds of extra stuff, because it was so popular in Europe. For of course, most of us here now, or most of the people probably in the stream here, are not from the US at this point. So Yeah, exactly. The 1 meg you kind of need because several games, like we saw with Wings, does need it to even launch. And I think, as far as I know, everyone that I knew that had an Amiga 500, they had the external floppy drive that sat on top, and then the memory expansion, at the very least, right? That gave you access to almost everything you needed back then. And it's a bummer that my external drive is problematic. It like shows up as invalid disk every time, or corrupted disk anytime you use it in Workbench, right? It won't load anything. Apparently, it's a pretty known problem with the power delivery. So I had a friend help me resolder the power connector on it, and it's still no dice. So maybe I could try some more troubleshooting, because those are getting expensive now. I think like several $100s, which freaking retro prices, man. Anyway, this is fun for me to explore because I do love the platform, and it's really fun sometimes. We do a lot of Mister stuff, we do a lot of like retro PC stuff, but it's fun to just go to something like this, which is so unique for the era. The Amiga 500 is definitely one of my favorite computers of all time, so it's just so much fun. Maybe this game excluded, I'm not sure. Anyway, I appreciate everyone hanging out. I'm going to call it there. It's a fun one. Check out the Amiga if you haven't messed with it. Many of you have, so I appreciate you guys hanging out. We got a stack of games that I know work, and I got a stack of games that doesn't work, so it's part of the game with these old ones, and as you can tell, we did not even go through half of the games. There's more here, so I'll have to do that on my own time at some point. Anyway, fun platform, fun stream. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. We'll see you, everyone, next week, hopefully. So have a good night.